Chapter 1963. Chapter 1963. The myriad beast realm. Lu Ming's gaze swept across the area and he saw a fiery red giant lizard behind him. It was staring at Lu Ming with wide eyes. In front of him was the middle-aged burly man. He was also looking at Lu Ming in shock. The man and the giant lizard exuded a powerful aura. They were both emperor-to-be existences. Through the traces at the scene, Lu Ming understood. The battle between the middle-aged man and the giant lizard must have caused a spatial fluctuation, causing the space to become fragile. They must have found out about it and attacked with all their might. With their cooperation, they pierced through the space and appeared here. At this moment, the giant lizard roared angrily, treating Lu Ming as the burly man's ally. It took a step forward and flames burst out of its body. It spat out a fireball at Lu Ming. Lu Ming threw a punch and the illusionary image of the prison-suppressing steel appeared, destroying the giant lizard's fireball. Bang! Bang! The giant lizard stomped on the ground and the cave rumbled as it pounced toward Lu Ming. The sharp claws tore through the air, as sharp as divine blades. At the same time, it bit at Lu Ming with its fangs. "You're looking for death." Lu Ming's gaze turned cold. He was already filled with anger. The moment the giant lizard appeared, it charged at him. This made Lu Ming even angrier. Boom! Boom! Lu Ming's saint energy boiled as he threw a few punches at the giant lizard. Although the giant lizard had the combat strength of an emperor-to-be, it was still no match for Lu Ming in a head-on collision. It was forced to retreat by Lu Ming's attacks. Bang! Lu Ming leaped high and looked down from above. He punched the giant lizard's head, causing it to crash heavily onto the ground. The giant lizard's head hit the ground and it let out a loud roar. Its scaly tail whipped at Lu Ming like an iron whip. Lu Ming grabbed the giant lizard's tail, lifted it up, and threw it towards the entrance of the cave. Buzz! The giant lizard was thrown out of the cave by Lu Ming. At this moment, a terrifying roar came from outside the cave. This roar did not come from the giant lizard, but from below the cave. The roar was so powerful that Lu Ming's eardrums vibrated as if there was a supreme demon there. Then, Lu Ming saw the giant lizard let out a terrified roar and its body fell rapidly, as if it was attracted by some force. Roar! Then, the earth-shaking roars continued to ring out. A terrifying sound wave reverberated in the area. The middle-aged burly man's expression was grave. He kept his distance from Lu Ming, not daring to go out at all. "Senior, what's that outside?" Lu Ming asked. "I don't know." The middle-aged man shook his head. "Where is this place?" Lu Ming asked again. "The myriad beast realm." The middle-aged man said. He sized Lu Ming up and said, "You should be the son of chaos of the Yuan Mountain Sacred Academy, right?" "Oh!" Lu Ming's eyes lit up. It seemed that they were still in one of the 9 worlds of the world of the lotus flower. They had not gone too far. At this moment, the roars outside stopped. Lu Ming was about to ask again when the middle-aged man rushed out of the cave and disappeared. Lu Ming was speechless. He followed them to the entrance of the cave and looked outside. His eyes widened involuntarily. The scene outside was extremely magnificent. The place he was in looked like the crater of a volcano or a huge cave that led underground. He was standing on one of the walls of the cave. As far as the eye could see, the surrounding walls of the cave were densely packed with caves. In the middle of the cave, there were stone bridges that were connected to each other. The cave went all the way down and it was dark down there. The roar just now had come from below. Lu Ming saw the middle-aged burly man leap onto a stone bridge and rush into a cave diagonally opposite him, disappearing. Lu Ming looked around again and realized that there were indeed figures flickering in some caves. Could it be that this place is a historical site of the myriad beast realm, and many outsiders are exploring here? Lu Ming pondered. He saw some figures flickering out of some caves. They seemed to be very cautious. They landed on the stone bridges and waited cautiously for a moment. Then they jumped down to the stone bridge below. Just like that, they continued to go down and explore the caves below. At this moment, another earth-shattering roar sounded from the depths of the cave. Along with the roar, a terrifying suction force came from the depths of the cave, as if it wanted to swallow everything. Ah! A terrified scream was heard. Lu Ming saw an absolute saint powerhouse who happened to be in the air and did not land on the stone bridge. Instead, he was swallowed by the force and disappeared into the endless abyss. Lu Ming gasped. What was down there? Even an absolute saint could not resist it. The giant lizard from before was also devoured by the force. However, Lu Ming realized that those who landed on the stone bridge were fine. It was as if the stone bridge could block the devouring power. No wonder those people were so careful when they jumped on the stone bridge. This place is full of danger. Lu Ming muttered and looked around. He realized that the cave he was in had no other exit. The only way out was the cave in front of him. Let's rest here for a while, Bubble. You should recover first, Lu Ming said to Pow Pow. Previously, in the Void Storm, Bubble had circulated her space-time laws to resist and had expended a lot of energy. This was a good opportunity for her to recuperate and rest. Okay, brother Lu Ming, chirp chirp. Pow Pow nodded and took out a large number of origin stones and saint herbs to start recovering. Lu Ming also sat cross-legged, devouring the rough stone to regulate his breathing. Not long after, Lu Ming's condition had returned to its peak. At this moment, Lu Ming's heart skipped a beat. The stone of chaos appeared in his hand. Previously, Lu Ming had used the rock of chaos to block the blow from Luo Kangqiang's sovereign weapon. At that time, Lu Ming had heard an obscure sound, which seemed to be the sound of the rock of chaos cracking. Lu Ming took it out and examined it. Indeed, there was a crack on the rock of chaos. The rock of chaos is indestructible, but it was actually cracked. That Luo Kangqiang's monarch weapon is really powerful. Lu Ming had a thought and then thought that since the chaos gem had cracked, he might as well break it open and take a look. Immediately, Lu Ming circulated all the energy in his body, grabbed the chaos gem, and tried to break it. Gotcha! The rock of chaos produced an even louder sound, and the crack became even bigger. As expected, it can be pried open. Lu Ming's eyes lit up. If not for the crack that had appeared on the rock of chaos, it would not have been able to be opened. Lu Ming continued to exert force. A moment later, the rock of chaos was completely broken into two halves. Ding, 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 ding. Inside the rock of chaos, there were two small crystals that fell to the ground. This is Chaos Crystal. Lu Ming's eyes lit up at the sight of the two crystals. Chapter 1964. Chapter 1964. Refining the light of chaos, he pried open the chaos gem and two chaos crystals fell out. Lu Ming was overjoyed. This was because chaos crystals were formed by the condensation of chaos chi. During the auction, the other party had said that there was no chaos chi left in the chaos gem, which was why the price had been so low. However, no one had expected that the chaos gems contained chaos chi. Instead, all the chaos chi had gathered together and turned into chaos crystals. Chaos crystals were nearly fused with chaos gems, so it was impossible to discover them without cracking the chaos gems. Tvi earned, I've really earned a lot. Lu Ming checked carefully and confirmed that there were only two chaos crystals in the chaos gem. Lu Ming immediately controlled the chaos laws and enveloped the two chaos crystals. Buzz! Buzz! When the laws of chaos enveloped the chaos crystals, the two chaos crystals trembled slightly and floated in the air with the laws of chaos. Then, the two chaos crystals melted like ice and turned into liquid. Finally, they turned into two streams of air. Lu Ming's eyes lit up. Back then, he had fused a stream of chaos chi into his body. Naturally, he could tell at a glance that these two streams of chi were also chaos chi. Then he'll refine two more. Lu Ming's eyes flickered. With a thought, he controlled the chaos laws and guided the chaos chi into his body. Lu Ming's physical body had already refined a stream of chaos chi. It was very compatible with the chaos chi and there was no difficulty in refining it. 3 days passed in the blink of an eye. Pow Pow had already recovered. She stayed at the entrance of the cave to protect Lu Ming. In the past few days, terrifying roars would ring out from the depths of the cave from time to time, accompanied by the sound of iron chains clashing. It was as if a supreme great demon was locked down below and was struggling to escape. Lu Ming turned a deaf ear to all of this. He was focused on refining the chaos qi. In 3 days, the 2 wisps of chaos qi had been completely refined into Lu Ming's body. They seeped into his muscles, bones, blood, and permeated every part of his body. The strength of Lu Ming's physical body had greatly improved and was even more tyrannical. His body seemed to have a layer of hazy light. With a thought, it would become as heavy as a mountain, indestructible and firm. Buzz. At that moment, his body seemed to resonate with the laws of chaos. When a warrior reached the 3rd stage of the half-saint realm, he would be able to infuse his body with the laws. The laws would be highly compatible with his body. The laws would be contained in his body, which would increase the strength of his body. At this moment, the chaos laws were constantly surging into Lu Ming's body. His body was numb, as if a terrifying power was about to be born. Buzz. Not long after, a ray of light emerged from Lu Ming's body. Light of chaos, chirp chirp. At the side, Pow Pow blinked her large eyes, revealing a look of joy. Lu Ming was refining 2 wisps of chaotic qi. In addition to the previous one, he had 3 wisps of chaotic qi in total, which greatly strengthened his spirit body. He also took advantage of the momentum and resonated with the laws of chaos, refining the light of chaos in one fell swoop. The light of chaos was faint at first, but as time passed, its color became darker and darker. Finally, it turned into a ray of light of chaotic colors that surrounded Lu Ming. After a while, Lu Ming opened his eyes and the light of chaos was retracted into his body. My Boda strength has increased by another level. Lu Ming sensed it carefully and his eyes flashed. He had not expected that the chaos gem he had bought unintentionally back then would actually allow him to refine the light of chaos. It was truly a great opportunity. If he did not have the 2 strands of chaotic qi, he did not know when he would be able to refine the chaotic light. This time, although his cultivation did not advance, his combat strength had soared. At this moment, a terrifying roar sounded outside the cave. Gusts of strong wind whistled out from the depths of the cave. Clang, clang, clang. At the same time, there was the sound of iron chains colliding. Lu Ming's expression turned serious. He could not help but think of the Divine Time Island. On the Divine Time Island, there was also a gigantic living being sealed within. It was chained up and was incomparably powerful and unfathomable. The clanking of chains could be heard from this place as well. Could it be that there was a supreme expert sealed beneath the cavern, just like the Divine Time Island? The voice roared for a while before it stopped. Lu Ming and Bubbles walked to the entrance of the cave and looked outside. They saw some figures leaping out of the caves and onto the stone bridges. With the help of the stone bridges, they went down. Boom, boom. Suddenly, there was a roar from the bottom of the cave. At the same time, a dazzling light burst out and shot into the sky. There were people fighting in the cave. Lu Ming could not help but channel the holy power into his eyes. His vision instantly improved and he looked down into the cave. This way, the scenery at the bottom of the cave became clear. At the bottom of the cave, there was a huge platform. In the middle of the platform, there was a palace. Around the platform, there were 4 stone bridges that were connected to the walls of the cave. At this moment, there was a group of people fighting on the platform. Phoenix Spirit, Long Chen. Lu Ming's eyes narrowed, and a murderous intent flashed in them. At that moment, Huang Ling, Long Chen, and a few elders, who should be emperor to be experts of Phoenix Palace and Divine Elephant Sect, were being besieged by a group of people. Lu Ming could tell at a glance that they were from the Hung family because they used the Eternal Spring Law. At this moment, Feng Ling, Long Chen, and the others were in danger. They were surrounded by the other party. There were more people on the other side, and they were all emperor-to-be, 6 of them. On the other hand, there were only 3 emperors-to-be in Huang Ling's group. There was still a gap between Huang Ling and Long Chen's combat strength and an emperor-to-bes. Kill these 3 old guys first. Leave the 2 younger ones behind. These 2 have a close relationship with Lu Ming. Leave them behind and ask Lu Ming to exchange the celestial Thearch sword for them. He ordered. One of the Hung family members said coldly. Their attacks were like a storm, heading toward the three emperor-to-be from Phoenix Palace and Divine Elephant Sect. As for Feng Ling and Long Chun, they only had to restrain them. A burly elder of the Divine Elephant Sect had his dantian pierced through by a sword from an emperor-to-be of the Heng family. The elder roared and fought back with all his might, striking his opponent with a palm. However, the opponent quickly retreated after being stabbed. The burly elder of the Divine Elephant Sect's final counterattack before his death only slightly injured him, not seriously injuring him. Long Chen, you guys must get out of here, die. The tall and sturdy elder of the Divine Elephant Sect roared in anger. His body fell heavily to the ground and he stopped breathing. Damn it! Long Chen roared, his eyes bloodshot. How one really wanna rush out. Dream on. One of the emperor-to-be from the Heng family sneered. He strode forward and attacked Huang Ling with a terrifying force. He wanted to take her down. At this moment, a transparent bubble suddenly appeared and enveloped him. His body froze. Then, a prison-suppressing steel fell from the sky and hit his body. Bang! The body of this emperor-to-be from the Heng family was torn into pieces. Chapter 1965. Chapter 1965. Killing the Heng clan emperor-to-be in succession, a phantom of the prison-suppressing steel fell from the sky and shattered an emperor-to-be of the Heng family. Then, a young figure landed in front of Feng Ling and Long Chen. The figure was, of course, Lu Ming. Seeing that Huang Ling and Long Chen were surrounded by the Heng family's emperor-to-be, Lu Ming used the stone bridge to rush over. Lu Ming! Huang Ling and Long Chen were overjoyed to see Lu Ming. It's Lu Ming! The emperor-to-be of the Heng family was shocked. Heng clan kill? Lu Ming shouted, his killing intent surging out like a tide. Hi, you want to kill us? Lu Ming, you've come at the right time. 111 finish you off and take back the celestial Thearch sword. That's right, it really didn't take much effort to find it after searching high and low. The emperor-to-be from the Heng family sneered and felt happy. This time, the Heng family had two missions in the Lotus World. The first was to explore the ruins left behind by the Celestial Emperor. The second was to kill Lu Ming and retrieve the Celestial Emperor's sword. They were looking for Lu Ming, but they did not expect Lu Ming to deliver himself to them. Lu Ming, you have to be careful. They have a very powerful person. Let's charge out together. Huang Ling sent a voice transmission to Lu Ming. Very strong, I'd like to try. Lu Ming's eyes glowed even more sharply. He just so happened to have refined 2 wisps of chaotic qi and the chaotic light. His strength had greatly increased, and he wanted to see how strong he was. You guys keep an eye on that little girl who can control the space-time law. Leave Lu Ming to me. A burly emperor-to-be from the Heng family stepped toward Lu Ming. The other emperor-to-be from the Heng family locked onto bubbles to prevent her from helping. Boom. The burly emperor-to-be from the Heng family threw a punch at Lu Ming. The moment he punched, the river of laws surrounded his fist, making the power of the punch even more shocking. If anyone below emperor-to-be was hit by this punch, they would be crushed into pieces. However, Lu Ming was not an ordinary martial artist. Boom. Lu Ming also threw a punch and used the prison-suppressing heavenly art. This punch did not produce the illusion of the prison-suppressing steel. Instead, it contained the power of the prison-suppressing steel in his fist. Boom. Lu Ming's fist collided with his opponent's fist. Gotcha. Then, the sound of bones breaking could be heard. The fist of the burly emperor-to-be from the Heng family exploded, and he was forced to retreat by a terrifying force. How can he be this strong? The burly emperor-to-be of the Heng family roared in disbelief. In the punch just now, he felt that Lu Ming's fist was filled with terrifying power. It was simply indestructible. Die! Lu Ming took a step forward and chased after the man. He threw another punch, which caused the space to shake. The expression of the burly emperor-to-be from the Heng family changed, and he retreated frantically. Let me do it! A skinny middle-aged man from the Heng family's emperor-to-be suddenly appeared in front of Lu Ming and threw a punch at him. Boom! There was a terrifying vibration. Lu Ming and the other party's bodies shook at the same time and they took a few steps back. An emperor-to-be with a superior heavenly spiritual body? Lu Ming squinted his eyes slightly, revealing a strong fighting spirit. Previously, he had encountered people from the Daluo Heaven sect and the Wind race in the Void Turbulence. One of them was an emperor-to-be with a superior-grade heaven spiritual body. He was very powerful and Lu Ming was completely suppressed. This thin middle-aged man was also such a figure, and his combat strength was far beyond that of an ordinary emperor-to-be. If you have some strength, come again. The skinny emperor-to-be was called Heng Shi. When he was young, he was also a genius of the Heng family. At this moment, he stepped forward with a combat sword in his hand. The sword chi was like a rainbow as he slashed at Lu Ming. It was a monarch weapon. Lu Ming's glabella glowed and the Dayan elixir furnace flew out. Lu Ming grabbed one of its legs and swung it at the other party. Boom, boom. With a few consecutive explosions, the two of them collided, but it was difficult to determine the winner. The emperor-to-be from the Heng family and the Phoenix Palace were shocked. Lu Ming's cultivation was only at the upper tier of the absolute saint realm, but his combat strength was too shocking. He could actually fight with an emperor-to-be with a superior-grade heavenly spiritual body. Heng Shi was also extremely shocked. Kill! He roared and circulated all his strength to the extreme. His combat sword was like a rainbow, slashing at Lu Ming continuously. Thousands of sword lights broke through the air. Buzz! At this moment, a ray of light emanated from Lu Ming's body. Lu Ming's strength increased greatly as soon as the ray of light was cast. The Dayan elixir furnace was like a giant hammer, constantly smashing at the other party. Boom, boom. After 2 consecutive moves, Heng Shi's body trembled and he retreated a few steps. Light of Chaos! Eternium roared. Once a son of chaos refined the light of chaos, his combat power would increase greatly. In the past, among the children of heaven in the Yuan Mountain, only the Hengxing River could refine the light of law. Now, Lu Ming had also refined it. Lu Ming picked up the Dayan elixir furnace and launched an extremely violent attack, constantly bombarding his opponent. In the process of bombarding, Lu Ming suddenly pointed out a chaos finger of tribulation. Boom! The Eternium was forced back by the primal chaos tribulation finger, and it spat out a mouthful of blood. Retreat! Heng Shi suddenly roared and retreated. He had already understood that he was not Lu Ming's match. If they continued to fight, they would be in danger. Bubble! Attack together! Lu Ming shouted. Bubbles came out of bubbles and covered the 5 emperor-to-be from the Heng family. Boom! Lu Ming picked up the Dayan elixir furnace and smashed it at one of the emperor-to-be. Lu Ming's ability had a crushing advantage over ordinary emperor-to-be, not to mention that he had Bubbles' help. Without a doubt, the emperor-to-be was killed by Lu Ming in one move. At the same time, Huang Ling, Long Chen, and the 2 emperor-to-be from the Phoenix Palace attacked the 2 emperor-to-be from the Heng family and injured them. Boom! Lu Ming picked up the Dayan elixir furnace and smashed it again, killing an emperor-to-be. Since Lu Ming's arrival, 3 of the 6 emperor-to-be from the Heng family had been killed. There were 3 left. One was an eternal stone, and the other 2 were injured by Huang Ling and the others. Bang! At this moment, the Eternium burst out with all its power and pierced through the transparent bubble. He did not dare to stop at all. He took a step and his body soared into the sky, rushing to the stone bridge above. You want to leave? Lu Ming's eyes turned cold and he was about to pursue. Another terrifying roar came from the bottom of the cave. A terrifying devouring force erupted from below, causing Lu Ming's expression to change and he stopped his pursuit. Heng Shi was overjoyed. The heavens were really helping him. After the roar stopped, the Eternium continued to rush up at an amazing speed. In the blink of an eye, it crossed several stone bridges and then turned into a ray of light and flew out of the cave. Lu Ming, let us go! A loud roar was heard. There were 2 emperor-to-be left in the Heng family and they were trapped by the Bubble's space-time law. One of them shouted, "Let you go? How can you be so naive?" Even Lu Ming was slightly stunned. Under such circumstances, the other party actually asked him to let them go. Was there something wrong with his brain? Chapter 1966. Chapter 1966. Chapter 1966 Core Area Lu Ming. Now that Heng Shi has escaped, the fact that you killed our Heng family's emperor-to-be will be exposed. The Heng family will not let you off. If you let us go now, you can reduce your sins. One of the emperor-to-be from the Heng family spoke, his voice filled with arrogance. Reduce my sins? Why are you so funny? Lu Ming was speechless. This person from the Heng family was too self-righteous, right? Furthermore, the Heng family has never considered letting me go. It would be a waste not to kill the Heng family members. Lu Ming said indifferently. Then, a combat sword appeared in his hand. He slashed out and killed an emperor-to-be. The remaining emperor-to-be's face turned pale. The Heng family was a great emperor force with a great emperor overseeing it. They were high above the entire Yuan mountain and were one of the peak forces. Normally, there were not many forces that dared to go against the Heng family, and there were not many forces that didn't care about the Heng family. He had thought that since the Eternium had escaped, Lu Ming would most likely have some reservations. However, he did not expect Lu Ming to be so decisive and merciless. No, please spare me. The emperor-to-be of the Heng family was scared and started to beg for mercy. Hee, is this the pride of the Heng family? Was this the pride of a great emperor? After your threat failed, you immediately begged for mercy. What a joke! Lu Ming sneered. The emperor-to-be from the Heng clan had an ugly look on his face, but in the face of life and death, everything was meaningless. He continued, Lu Ming, as long as you let me go, I'll do anything you want. No need. 111 Be worried if I leave someone like you alive. Kill him. Lu Ming was very decisive. He slashed with his sword and killed the person. So what if one of them ran away? He and the Heng family couldn't alleviate the situation anyway, so what was there to be afraid of? Lu Ming, you've already refined the light of chaos. Huang Ling and Long Chen walked over with surprise and joy on their faces. The more powerful Lu Ming was, the happier they would be. Lu Ming nodded and looked around. They were not the only ones nearby. There were others who were looking at Lu Ming with a grave expression. The combat strength that Lu Ming had displayed just now had shocked them. Lu Ming looked around and realized that they were on a platform. In the middle of the platform was a hall with staircases in all four directions leading to the hall. At this moment, many people were climbing up the stairs towards the palace. However, as long as someone stepped onto the stairs, there would be flames on the stairs, blocking everyone's way. Even an emperor-to-be would find it difficult to climb the stairs. Lu Ming, this is the core of the ruins. I don't know if there are any treasures in the hall, but we can't fly up. We can only go up along the stairs. However, there's a terrifying formation on the stairs that blocks the way. Huang Ling explained. The core of the ruins. Lu Ming's eyes lit up. At the core of the Divine Time Island, they had obtained many plants that could increase one's lifespan. They had also obtained the Divine Time Tree. It was because of the Divine Time Tree that Bubbles was able to achieve a breakthrough and cultivate the space-time light. Qiu Yu's injuries were only temporarily stabilized because of the Divine Time Tree. One could see how precious the Divine Tree of Time was. What was in the core of this place? Let's go up, Lu Ming said. He took the lead and walked up a flight of stairs. Bubbles followed closely behind Lu Ming. Feng Ling and Long Chen, the two emperor-to-be from Phoenix Palace, also stepped forward. As soon as they stepped on the stairs, a terrifying power of fire rushed toward them. However, the flames at the beginning were not a problem for them. They advanced very easily. After stepping halfway through, the power of the flames became stronger and stronger. Moreover, Lu Ming discovered a problem. The power of the flames on the steps seemed to be different according to the cultivation level. The higher the cultivation of the person, the more powerful the flame. For example, the power of the flames that the emperor-to-be faced was much stronger than theirs. Therefore, halfway through, the emperors-to-be couldn't move an inch. If they continued, they felt that they would be burned to ashes by the fire power. However, Lu Ming, Bubbles, Huang Ling, and Long Chen were still able to move forward easily. They didn't stop and kept going up. A moment later, they were on the stairs. So many doors? Huang Ling muttered. This was because the palace here had many doors, a total of 9. Of the 9 doors, 3 were closed, and 6 were open. At this moment, their gazes moved. They saw a young man flying into a door. The moment he entered, the door closed. It's Wei Tiandao. Everyone's hearts skipped a beat. They all knew who that young man was. He was Wei Tiandao, who was ranked 4th on the Saint King rankings back in the Yuan Mountain Saint Academy. However, the Saint King ranking had been rearranged, and Wei Tiandao had been pushed down to 8th place. It seems that someone has also entered the 3 closed doors. Long Chen said, "There might be opportunities in these doors. Let's each choose one." Lu Ming said, "Okay, then we'll choose according to our feelings." Huang Ling nodded. The 4 of them flew forward and each chose a fan. Lu Ming walked towards the door on the far right. He realized that this door seemed to have a special attraction to him. It could make his array Dao laws feel restless. After Bubbles, Feng Ling, and Long Chin each stepped into a door, Lu Ming stepped in as well. After entering the door closed. Lu Ming sized it up carefully. This was a stone room. The stone room was empty and very wide. However, Lu Ming was attracted by the wall of the stone room the moment he entered. The walls of the stone room were carved with dense runes, which were extremely profound. This is runes of formation Dao. Lu Ming's eyes lit up. He cultivated array Dao laws and could tell at a glance that these were array Dao runes. Furthermore, they were extremely mysterious. These runes seemed to have formed a secret technique. Lu Ming sized it up for a while and came to a conclusion. He then sat cross-legged and began to comprehend it in detail. At that moment, in Lu Ming's eyes, the runes on the wall seemed to come to life. They combined and transformed into countless possibilities. It was mysterious and unpredictable. He sat there for 3 days. Within 3 days, Lu Ming had engraved all the runes on the 4 walls in his heart. The 9 scrolls of array Dao. These are actually 2 of the 9 scrolls of array Dao, the Annihilation Scroll and the Illusionary Spirit Scroll. Lu Ming was extremely shocked. Back when he had obtained the status of the Hunyuan sect's gold inheritor, he had shamelessly asked for the Sealed Scroll, one of the 9 scrolls of array Dao. Back then, the Hunyuan sect elder had told Lu Ming that the 9 scrolls of array Dao was a supreme secret technique to cultivate the array Dao laws. However, it had been lost for a long time. He didn't expect that he would come across the other 2 scrolls of the 9 scrolls of arrays here. The power of a sealed scroll was extremely long and mysterious. During a battle, using a sealed scroll could greatly affect the opponent's combat power. The Annihilation Scroll, on the other hand, could use symbols to form the power of annihilation. Its might was astonishing. The Illusionary Spirit Scroll, on the other hand, used runes to create all sorts of powerful living beings. It was also a secret technique that was extremely powerful. Chapter 1967. Chapter 1967. The 9th World. Lu Ming immediately closed his eyes and began to comprehend carefully. Cultivation knew no time. A month had passed while Lu Ming was in the process of comprehending the knowledge. Lu Ming already had the foundation of one of the 9 scrolls of the array Dao, the Sealed Scroll. Hence, he was able to comprehend the other 2 scrolls very quickly. Lu Ming realized that when he was comprehending, the Sealed Scroll, Destruction Scroll, and Illusionary Spirit Scroll of the 9 scrolls of the array Dao could be combined with each other. His comprehension of the array Dao laws was very fast. Originally, his array Dao laws maturity had already reached over 80%. In this short month, he had comprehended 3 volumes at once. The speed at which his array Dao laws improved was simply terrifying. In a short month, it had increased from 80% to 90%. Array Dao laws were King Dao laws. It's really profound. If the 9 scrolls of array Dao are cultivated to a high level, they can even be fused together, and the power will be even more astonishing. As expected of a supreme secret technique of the array Dao laws. Lu Ming sighed. It's been a month. It's time to go out. Anyway, I've already remembered it in my heart. One can slowly comprehend it in the future. Lu Ming stood up and walked toward the main door. Miraculously, the door opened automatically when Lu Ming walked to it. When Lu Ming walked out, the door closed again. Closed? Could it be that only one person can enter through each door? and the people behind can't? Lu Ming was a little surprised. Lu Ming! Brother Lu Ming! At this moment, a few cries could be heard as Feng Ling, Long Chen, and Bubbles walked over. You guys came out long ago? Lu Ming asked curiously. Then, his eyes lit up and he looked at Feng Ling and Long Chen. Your cultivation has increased? He realized that Huang Ling and Long Chen had both reached the pinnacle of the absolute saint realm. However, Bubbles' cultivation seemed to still be at the late-stage absolute saint realm. She hadn't broken through yet, and it was unknown what kind of fortune she had obtained. We obtained an opportunity in that secret chamber and made a breakthrough in our cultivation. However, this secret chamber can only be used once before it is closed. Said Huang Ling. Lu Ming swept his gaze over and realized that the 9 doors were all closed. It was obvious that someone had gone in. Lu Ming, what did you get? Huang Ling asked curiously. A secret technique. Lu Ming said. He then looked at Bubbles and said, Bubble, what did you get? A kind of treasure? As for what it is, I won't tell you. Chirp chirp. Bubbles said in a mysterious manner. You little rascal. Lu Ming smiled. Let's leave this place. Lu Ming said. From time to time, roars could be heard coming from the cave. Who knew if that powerful existence would cause any trouble? It was better to leave first. Huang Ling and the others nodded. When the roars stopped, they took the opportunity to fly up and cross the stone bridge above. Then, they found the right time and kept going up. Not long after, they rushed out of the cave. In this area, there were other people who saw Lu Ming and the rest coming out of the stone room. Their eyes were filled with greed, but no one dared to take any action. Lu Ming and the rest were definitely powerful. By the way, were you in this world when you first came in? Lu Ming asked after they left the cave. Yes, we have been exploring the myriad beast realm, but unfortunately, we have not gained much. Long Chen nodded. Do you know where the entrance to the next world is? Lu Ming asked. Yes, we've asked around. We were planning to explore other worlds after we finished exploring, said Huang Ling. All right, let's go to the next world. Lu Ming said. Everyone immediately flew in one direction. The myriad beast realm and the myriad sea realm were completely different. The myriad sea realm was full of vast oceans, while the myriad beast realm was full of wild mountains. Lu Ming, Bubbles, Feng Ling, Long Chen, and the 2 emperor-to-be from the Phoenix Palace flew all the way. After a few days, they arrived at the border of the myriad beast realm. Here, there was also a void turbulence. Huang Ling and Long Chen took out their monarch weapons to resist the turbulence and the crowd stepped into the void. Along the way, they met other people who were rushing to the myriad beast realm. After a period of time, they passed through the turbulent flow of the void and arrived at another world. There were also human martialists in this world. They had asked around and found that there was indeed a huge historical site in this world that had been passed down since ancient times. They headed in the direction of the ruins. However, they met a few familiar faces along the way. Ouyang Wushuang, Desolate Power, and some emperor-to-be powerhouses from the Abyss Empire. Ouyang Wushuang and the rest were pleasantly surprised to meet Lu Ming and the others. Lu Ming, you're going to the legacy site, right? Ouyang Wushuang asked. Not bad. Lu Ming nodded. There's no need to go to that ruin. It has already been explored. We just came out of that ruin. Ouyang Wushuang asked. We are from the myriad beast realm. Lu Ming said. From the myriad beast realm? It seems that the 8 worlds have almost been explored. Ouyang Wushuang's expression changed. Then he began to talk about their experiences and the news they had heard. It turned out that Ouyang Wushuang and the others had already explored a few worlds. Moreover, they had also heard that the remains of the other worlds had almost been completely explored. Now, everyone is heading toward the 9th world. Ouyang Wushuang said. The 9th world. Lu Ming's heart stirred. The world of the lotus flower had 9 petals, representing 9 worlds. When they first entered, Lu Ming observed that everyone would be attracted to different petals. However, there was only one petal and no one else. Lu Ming felt that there must be something unusual. One heard that someone saw a legend in one of the worlds. The 9th world contains a big secret, and there is only one way to the ninth world, which is the heaven abyss of the heaven abyss realm. I heard that many powerful forces are heading to the heaven abyss realm, such as the Heng Star River and the Heng family, the He family, the Daluo heaven sect, and so on. Ouyang Wushuang said. Since that's the case, well, go too. Lu Ming said. The ninth world should have an extraordinary secret that should not be missed. Moreover, there were some scores that needed to be settled. Lu Ming's eyes flashed with a cold glint. Ouyang Wushuang nodded. Immediately, everyone changed direction and headed toward the deep heaven world. He couldn't reach the heavenly abyss world directly from this world. He had to go through the other two worlds. They crossed several worlds and flew for a long time. After more than 10 days, they finally arrived at the deep heaven world. The heavenly abyss of the heavenly abyss realm was the most famous miracle in the heavenly abyss realm. It was easy to find out about it by asking around. The heavenly abyss was in the north of the heavenly abyss realm. Everyone headed toward the heavenly abyss. The heavenly abyss was a deep abyss that stretched across the edge of the heavenly abyss world. No one knew how long, deep, or wide it was. From a distance, it looked as if the sky abyss had been cut out by a sword. Chapter 1968. Chapter 1968. Meeting the Eternal Star River again, it was said that on the other side of the heavenly abyss was another world. It was the legendary ninth world, the world where the undying lived. At this moment, many figures were gathered at the edge of the heavenly abyss. These people were all experts from various forces in the outside world. Most of them were emperor-to-be. There were also some heaven's favorites with monarch weapons who could also pass through the spatial turbulence. On the edge of the heavenly abyss, there was a huge platform that seemed to be built with some kind of huge stone. In the middle of the platform, there was a huge altar. Around the altar, there were dense inscriptions. In front of the altar, there was a young figure sitting cross-legged with his eyes closed. However, everyone seemed to be afraid of this figure, and no one dared to approach the platform. Because this person was the stellar river. The eternal sun, Heng Xinghe, was too terrifying. Previously, there was an emperor-to-be who had disrespected him and was killed by him in seconds. Even if the other party had many emperor-to-be experts, they were still far from being a match for the Star River. An emperor-to-be could only be killed in seconds in the face of the galaxy. He couldn't even withstand one move. What was shocking was that his cultivation in the Xing River realm had yet to reach the emperor-to-be realm. Moreover, there were also emperor-to-be experts from the Heng family. Therefore, the stellar river occupied the ancient platform that looked very important, and the others could only watch from the outside. Of course, there were also people with killing intent in their eyes, and that was the He family. They wished they could kill the galaxy, but they were no match for the galaxy here. They could only hide far away, not daring to get close. Young Master Xinghe, you've been studying it for days. Do you know how to cross this abyss and head to the ninth world? Finally, someone asked. Xinghe didn't make a sound, as if he was ignoring that person. It was only after a long while that Xinghe opened his mouth and said, I already know the method. Many people's eyes lit up. What method is it? Someone asked. It's not the time to say it yet. In the galaxy. If it's not time to say it, then when will it be time to say it? The man asked. Are you questioning me? Xingchen suddenly opened his eyes. His eyes were like two divine swords, piercing toward the man. The man was shocked as he felt a cold, killing intent covering him. He couldn't help but retreat. His face turned pale and he quickly said, One don't dare, one don't dare. I'll naturally say it when I should. After saying that, the eternal Star River closed its eyes again. The person from before heaved a long sigh of relief, but his back was already drenched in cold sweat. The eternal sun is too terrifying. He's not even an emperor-to-be, but he's already so terrifying. If he becomes an emperor-to-be, he'll be able to compete with martial sovereigns. Many people had the same thought and were shocked. The people of the He family looked gloomy. A chosen like the eternal sun was a disaster for the He clan. In the future, if the Heng family's two great emperors joined forces and the Heng family broke through to the great emperor realm, the He family would definitely be destroyed. Therefore, the people of the He family were thinking about how to get rid of the Star River. Time passed by quickly. In the blink of an eye, a few days had passed. On this day, the Star River that had been sitting there suddenly opened its eyes and looked into the distance. Its eyes were sharp as it muttered, "It's finally here." Everyone was shocked. "They're finally here. Who's here?" Everyone's gaze followed the direction of the stellar river and saw a group of people walking in the air. They were led by a few young men. "It's Lu Ming, the son of chaos, Lu Ming," someone exclaimed in a low voice as he recognized Lu Ming. This made many people's hearts tremble. Could it be that the eternal Star River had been waiting here all this while for Lu Ming? Buzz. The Star River rose and took a step forward, heading toward Lu Ming. At the same time, the Heng family's experts also followed beside the Hing family. Not far away, Lu Ming, Feng Ling, Long Chen and the rest stopped. "Lu Ming, you're finally here. I've been waiting for you for a long time," said Xing Chen indifferently. "Is that so?" Lu Ming's expression was calm. He knew that he would face the stellar river when he came here. "Lu Ming, you killed the emperor-to-be of the Heng family. Today, you'll use your blood to pay tribute to them." Behind the Star River, a figure shouted. It was an eternal stone. "They wanted to kill me, so why can't one fight back?" Lu Ming asked. "Of course you can. In the world of martial Tao, everything is decided by strength. Those who are strong live, and those who are weak die. They're not as strong as you, so they deserve to die." Xing Chen said indifferently as if he didn't care about the death of a few emperor-to-be from the Heng family. "However, they're from the Heng family and so am one. You killed them, so I'm going to kill you. Lu Ming, hand over the Celestial Emperor's sword and he'll give you a quick death." The galaxy continued. "Heng Xinghe, I knew you were here for the sword of Celestial Emperor. Back then, you couldn't do anything to me in the Yuan Mountain Saint Academy. Today, you can't do anything to me either," Lu Ming said, his eyes slowly filled with fighting spirit. "This place isn't the Yuan Mountain Sacred Academy," Heng Shan said coldly. His meaning was clear. Back then at the Yuan Mountain Sacred Academy, Lu Ming had fought alongside many experts in the Hengxing River. However, today there were experts from the Heng family here. They would not let Lu Ming and the others have this chance. Boom, boom. The Heng family had been around for countless years and was an emperor-level power with too many experts. There were more than 100 emperor-to-be here today. When they gathered together, their momentum was terrifying. A terrifying aura pressed down on Lu Ming and the rest, causing their expressions to change. "We're here to help you." Not far away, a voice could be heard. A group of people came behind Lu Ming and the others. They were the emperor-to-be of Phoenix Palace, Divine Elephant Sect, Thunder God Sect, and other forces. "We are your opponents." A cold voice rang out. A giant wolf stepped in the air, a golden crow let out a long cry, and the chi of a combat weapon soared into the sky. The emperor-to-be from the Golden Crow clan, the Sirius Tower, the Wand family, the Purple Extreme Sect, and other forces stepped on the air and pressed toward Lu Ming and the others. "Lu Ming, let me help you." A beautiful woman came to Lu Ming's side with a group of experts. It was Luo Tianyi and the emperor-to-be of the Jade Pool Immortal Palace. Following that, many scattered experts joined Lu Ming and the rest. For example, the emperor-to-be of the Xinyuan Empire and other sections. Even so, Lu Ming and the rest were far from capable. Most of the forces on Lu Ming's side were from the ancient Moon Holy Land. At most, they could only compete with the Golden Crow clan and the Sirius Tower, which were also forces from the ancient Moon Holy Land. Even with the addition of the Xinyuan Empire, it would be useless. Hee, it's really lively. Lu Ming, one have to say that you're really lucky. With a sneer, Luo Zhangqiong led the powerhouses of the Daluo Heaven sect to the side of the Heng family's powerhouse. Then, the masters of the Wind race also came to the side of the Daluo Heaven sect. On Lu Ming's side, many people's expressions changed. The other party was too powerful. The difference in strength between the two sides was too great. Chapter 1969. Chapter 1969. blood sacrifice to the bridge. The Heng family and the Daluo Heaven sect were both emperor-level forces. They had many more experts than Lu Ming and the others. Moreover, the Wind clan, the Golden Crow clan, the Wan family, and other forces had gathered. Many emperor-to-be surrounded by the river of laws made them look like gods in the sky. Their terrifying aura pressed toward Lu Ming and the rest like a mountain. Behind Lu Ming, everyone stood in a defensive circle, their expressions grave. Around them, many people were watching with different expressions. Some people sneered. Take the He family for example. They did not have a good impression of either Lu Ming or the Heng family. It was best to kill each other. As for the people from the Soul Divine Temple, they stood in the distance and did not interfere. Although Qiu Yu and Lu Ming were very close, Qiu Yu only represented her lineage in the Soul Divine Temple. Moreover, he had not seen Qiu Yu yet. Lu Ming is going to die today. I've expected this. How dare he go against emperor-level forces like the Heng family and the Daluo Heaven sect? Yu Shu sneered in the crowd, gloating over his misfortune. The young geniuses from the Purple Flame Villa had complicated expressions on their faces. There were a few young men in the Purple Flame Villa who had lost a bet to Lu Ming and had to listen to his orders. But now, in the face of so many masters from the Heng family and the Daluo Heaven sect, they could only choose to ignore them and pretend that they did not see anything. It was because it would be a dead end if they went there. Moreover, the emperor-to-be in the Purple Flame Villa would not listen to their orders. Damn it, they are relying on their numbers. It's a pity that our desolate race has not appeared. If not, we would have gathered a bunch of emperor-to-be. We would have hammered them to death. Desolately growled. He was very unhappy. It's just a battle, said Longchen. He looked ordinary, but he was filled with fighting spirit. Why should a man be afraid of a battle? Don't you all want to know how to pass through this abyss and head to the ninth world? At this moment, the emotionless voice of the galaxy rang. Many people were shocked. Was the galaxy finally going to say something? If you want to cross the other side of the abyss, you have to open the abyssal bridge. The way to open the abyssal bridge is very simple, which is to sacrifice the bridge with blood. With the blood of many experts, you can open the abyssal bridge and lead to the ninth world. The voice of the galaxy spread far and wide. Many people's hearts trembled again. They actually had to sacrifice the blood of experts to the bridge in order to reach the ninth world. How much blood do you need? Someone asked in a serious tone. I don't know. Naturally, the more the better. The Eternal Star River Channel then looked at Lu Ming and the rest. A cold killing intent burst out. Today, 111 use your blood as a sacrifice to the bridge. Boom. 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 As soon as he finished speaking, the powerhouses of the Heng family, the Daluo Heaven sect, and other forces stepped out. The river of laws surrounded them, and their saint power burst out like a tide. Today, they wanted Lu Ming and the rest to stay here. You guys focus on defense. Leave the stellar river to me. Lu Ming's voice spread to the ears of Huang Ling and the rest. Then, Lu Ming's glabella glowed and the Dayan elixir furnace flew out, turning into the size of a mountain. However, the Dayan elixir furnace did not float above Lu Ming's head. Instead, it flew towards Huang Ling and the rest before it landed on the ground with a loud thud. The Dayan elixir furnace had 4 legs and was lifted high up. Huang Ling and the rest were all below the furnace. The Dayan cauldron was the most important treasure of the Dayan elixir palace. Its grade was far above ordinary monarch weapons. With that, Feng Ling, Long Chen, and the rest only had to defend the surroundings. They didn't have to worry about the top. This way, their defensive power would increase greatly. Bubble, go help Huang Ling and the rest. Lu Ming sent a voice transmission to Bubbles. Brother Lu Ming, be careful, Chirpy. Bubbles cried out and charged towards Feng Ling, Long Chen, and the others. You guys deal with the others. Leave Lu Ming to me. The galaxy said coldly. The powerful engine locked onto Lu Ming. Kill. Hiding under a pill furnace means death as well. The emperor-to-be experts of the Heng family, Daluo Heaven sect, and Golden Crow clan stepped into the air and attacked Feng Ling, Long Chen, and Bubbles from all directions. On Huang Ling's side, there were only dozens of emperors-to-be, much less than the other side. They could only gather together to defend. All sorts of defensive saint weapons and sovereign weapons were everywhere. At the same time, bubbles attacked. The space around them distorted, forming mirror-like spatial shields that blocked in all directions. Hundreds of attacks fell on Huang Ling and the others, some of which were blocked by the Dayan elixir furnace. At this moment, Lu Ming had already cut off his connection with the Dayan elixir furnace. Otherwise, the terrifying force would have followed the Dayan elixir furnace and injured Lu Ming. At this moment, the Dayan elixir furnace was only relying on its own solid and immortal characteristics to resist the attacks around it. As expected, the attacks were all blocked by the Great Yen elixir furnace. The rest of the attacks were blocked by Feng Ling and Long Chen. After all, although the other party had a lot of people, they didn't have many angles to attack under the cover of the Dayan elixir furnace. Continue, kill. An expert from the Hung family roared and attacked Huang Ling and the others. At this moment, a shrill scream erupted from the crowd in the distance. Someone had suddenly attacked and killed an expert. What are you guys doing? You're looking for death. Someone shouted. Sacrifice your blood to the bridge. Someone coldly spoke. Then I'll use your blood as a sacrifice to the bridge. And let's go. The person from before shouted, and a huge battle immediately broke out in that area. There were many forces here who had grudges with each other. The chaos in that area seemed to affect the whole world. Those forces who had grudges with each other also began to fight. Since he wanted to sacrifice the bridge with the blood of experts, he might as well use the blood of his enemies. Therefore, a war broke out inevitably, and the scope of the war was getting wider and wider. Soon, the four sides were in chaos and wars were everywhere. Lu Ming and the galaxy stood in the air, facing each other. Lu Ming, no one will help you today. You'll only die. Hand over the celestial Thearch's sword and 111 leave your corpse intact, said Xingchen coldly. Long time no see. Your cultivation is still in the great circle of the absolute saint realm. Do you think you can kill me? Lu Ming sneered. There are also strong and weak absolute saints in the great circle of the absolute saint realm. Xing He said calmly. His cultivation base was indeed the same as when he fought with Lu Ming and the others. He was still in the perfected absolute saint realm. The main thing was that to break through to the emperor-to-be realm from the perfection of an absolute saint, one had to cultivate a law to perfection. However, the further one advanced, the harder it would be to cultivate. This was especially true when he trained in the eternal laws. However, even at the perfected absolute saint realm, there were weak and strong nomological laws. The maturity of the nomological laws in the eternal star river had reached 99%. He was much stronger than when he was fighting with Lu Ming and the rest. Boom! A shocking aura burst out from the body of the galaxy. At the same time, a ring of light surrounded the galaxy, making him look like a god. This was the eternal light. A terrifying sword light bloomed from Xingchen's hand. Chapter 1970. Chapter 1970. Chapter 1970 Improved combat power. The galaxy raised its aura to the maximum and the eternal light bloomed. It was about to attack Lu Ming. At this moment, a blade light crossed the void and slashed down at the Star River. This blade light was filled with the aura of death. When the saber light slashed down, everything was destroyed. Xingchen's eyes narrowed. He waved his hand and slashed out a shocking sword radiance, which clashed with the saber radiance. Buzz! A terrifying, ear-piercing sound rang out. Endless blade light and sword chi swept in all directions. Xingchen's figure shook slightly and he took a step back. A figure appeared in the sky. He carried a saber on his back and his hair was dancing wildly. It was the Death Blade. At that moment, his aura was extremely shocking. He had also reached the perfected absolute saint realm. Furthermore, there was also a halo around him. It was the light of death. Clearly, the Death Blade had also obtained a great opportunity during this period of time and made great progress. Not only did it have a breakthrough in its cultivation, but it had also refined the light of death. Star River, your opponent is me. The Death Blade stepped through the air and stood in front of the Star River. "Death Blade, you again?" Killing intent bloomed in Xinghe's eyes, and he said, "Death Blade, although you've reached the peak of the absolute saint realm and cultivated the light of death, you're still no match for me." "Not your match? You'll know once you try, Death Heavenly Blade." The Death Blade was very direct. As soon as he finished speaking, he attacked. The battle blade on his back was unsheathed, and the terrifying Death Blade light slashed toward the Star River. Xing Chen's eyes turned serious. A combat sword appeared in his hand. Although he sounded very confident, he didn't dare to be careless in the face of the Death Blade. The Death Blade was the child of death, and now he had cultivated the light of death and entered the perfected absolute saint realm. They were at the same level, so he couldn't be careless. A dazzling sword radiance burst forth, as if it was going to pierce through heaven and earth. Boom! 2 figures, 2 sword lights and 2 blade lights collided, and a dazzling light burst out between heaven and earth. The eternal Star River and the Death Blade were engaged in a fierce battle. The momentum was terrifying, and no one dared to stand within a radius of hundreds of miles for fear of being dragged in. In the blink of an eye, the two exchanged dozens of moves and were evenly matched. Lu Ming was speechless. He had wanted to have a big fight with the galaxy. However, it was good that the Death Blade had made a move. He had to block the galaxy first as he still had things to do. Lu Ming's figure moved and he dashed in one direction at top speed. That direction was where the Daluo Heaven sect was located. At this time, many Emperor-to-be of the Daluo Heaven sect were attacking Huang Ling, Long Chen, and the others. The number of Emperor-to-be from the Daluo Heaven sect was also shocking. Although it was less than the Heng family, there were still nearly 100 people. At this moment, Luo Zongqiong was standing in the void with a huge seal in his hand. It was the divine seal of deprivation. The divine seal of deprivation could continuously deprive the energy in space. The longer it was deprived, the more energy it would accumulate, and the more terrifying its power would be. At this moment, Luo Zongqiong was constantly snatching the energy until he reached the limit of his control before he made his move. Die! Luo Zongqiong roared. He pushed out the divine seal of deprivation with his palm. It was like a mountain crashing forward. However, Lu Ming suddenly appeared in front of the divine seal of deprivation and pointed his finger. And NBSP, the primal chaos tribulation finger, exploded, striking the divine seal of deprivation. Boom! A deafening boom was heard. The divine seal of deprivation was destroyed and Lu Ming's figure drifted backward for a distance. The power of Luo Kangqiang's divine seal of deprivation after he had accumulated power was indeed terrifying. Even with Lu Ming's current combat strength, he was still forced back. However, he was only forced back. You're actually able to block my divine seal of deprivation, Luo Zongqiong cried out in disbelief. After a long time of accumulation, he had deprived a large amount of energy of that move. Its power had reached a shocking level. An ordinary Emperor-to-be would not be able to withstand it and would be killed easily. But now, Lu Ming had actually blocked it head-on. How could he not be shocked? Luo Zongqiong, I'm going to take your life today, Lu Ming said coldly. Qiu Yu was still unconscious from her serious injuries. He would not let Luo Zongqiong go. Even if the other party was the great emperor's grandson, it was the same. Lu Ming stepped into the void and charged towards Luo Zongqiong. Luo Zongqiong was shocked and could not help but retreat. Lu Ming, you managed to escape last time. I'll kill you again. A burly figure appeared in front of Lu Ming with a giant hammer in his hand. This person was the expert who had fought with Lu Ming in the void turbulence. He had a superior-grade celestial spiritual body and was very powerful. Previously, Lu Ming was completely suppressed by the other party. But this time, it would not. Kill, die! Lu Ming shouted. His eyes shot out a cold light. At the same time, a ring of light enveloped his body and he pointed his finger. And NBSP, the massive finger of primal chaos tribulation, struck the enemy's hammer, causing it to buzz and be sent flying. Your battle strength, the other party was shocked. After exchanging one move, He could feel that Lu Ming's combat strength was much stronger than the last time. Previously, Lu Ming was at a complete disadvantage when he faced him. However, in the exchange just now, he was actually at a disadvantage. How did Lu Ming's ability improve so much in such a short period of time? Light of Chaos. You've refined the light of chaos. The burly man roared. I'll kill you today. Lu Ming said coldly. He continued to use the chaotic finger of tribulation and pointed. And NBSP, the massive primal chaos tribulation finger, suffused with primal chaos light, suddenly appeared like a god's finger and began to crush down. The burly man let out a low growl and used all his strength to wave his giant hammer to block Lu Ming's attack. However, at this moment, countless runes appeared in Lu Ming's left hand. A true dragon pounced toward the burly man. This was the illusionary spirit scroll, one of the 9 scrolls of the Tao of Formations. Symbols transformed into true dragons, and its power was terrifying. And NBSP, the burly man's giant hammer, collided with the primal chaos tribulation finger. He had used all his strength to block Lu Ming's chaos finger of tribulation. How could he have the energy to block the attack of the Array Dao Law's illusionary spirit scroll? The true dragon pounced on the burly man's body. With a long roar, it clawed down. Bang! The burly man's body trembled violently. With a muffled groan, he retreated rapidly and spat out a large mouthful of blood. Kill! Lu Ming followed up quickly. He waved his palm and a huge shadow of the prison-suppressing steel fell from the sky, pressing down on the burly man. The burly man let out a blood-curdling screech as his body began to crack. It was unknown how many bones in his body had been broken. Then, runes glowed on Lu Ming's left hand and another true dragon flew out. It grabbed the burly man and tore him apart. Sila! Blood splattered everywhere as the burly man's body was torn apart. The burly man, an emperor-to-be with a superior-grade celestial spiritual body, was killed by Lu Ming's series of attacks. The 9 scrolls of Array Dao are indeed profound. If I can fuse the Annihilation Scroll, Illusionary Spirit Scroll, and Sealed Scroll together, the power will increase even more. Lu Ming had an idea. Chapter 1971. Chapter 1971. Chapter 1971. Killing King Physique. The Array Dao Laws could only be used as Lu Ming's support for now. Compared to the Chaos Finger Tribulation, it was still a little weaker. However, if he were to combine the Annihilation Manual, the Illusionary Spirit Manual, and the Sealed Manual together, the power would definitely increase exponentially. One could only imagine how powerful the attack would be if it transformed into a true dragon that contained both the power of destruction and the power of sealing. Lu Ming was looking forward to it. At this moment, Luo Kangqiang's eyes were wide open in disbelief. Lu Ming could actually kill the burly man, who was a top-notch emperor-to-be. Unless one had a king physique, he was invincible among his peers. The fact that Lu Ming could kill such an existence sent chills down his spine. Lu Ming's cold eyes swept towards Luo Zongqiong. He did not stop and continued to charge at Luo Zongqiong. Men, kill Lu Ming. Kill him. Luo Zongqiong roared as he frantically retreated. Luo Pokong also retreated with him. Buzz! Buzz! And NBSP Wuxia. In an instant, at least 10 emperor-to-be rushed toward Lu Ming with all kinds of terrifying attacks. However, Lu Ming simply ignored these attacks. His chaotic light surrounded his body, and as he charged forward, all the attacks that landed on his chaotic light were blocked. The light of chaos could be used to attack and defend, and its power was astonishing. After Lu Ming rushed through the attacks, he threw a few punches in a row. His fist radiance tore through the air and the 3 emperor-to-be exploded in the air. Immediately after, Lu Ming pointed out the fingers of tribulation of chaos in succession. 6 fingers of tribulation of chaos shot toward the 6 emperor-to-be. Although the power of the 6 fingers had been dispersed, it was enough to deal with an ordinary emperor-to-be. The 6 emperor-to-be were blown away by the 6 finger forces. Their faces were pale and they spat out blood. In the beginning, he killed 3 emperor-to-be and then he injured 6. This kind of combat strength was shocking. Luo Tongqiong and Luo Pokong were even more shocked. The two of them retreated frantically. They did not have the courage to fight Lu Ming. However, Luo Tongqiong retreated even faster because his cultivation was stronger. "You guys can't escape, let's go," Lu Ming said coldly. He dashed out like a bolt of lightning and avoided several powerhouses of the Daluo Heaven sect. The next moment, Lu Ming caught up to Luo Pokong. Luo Pokong was shocked. The long spear in his hand pierced through the void and went straight for Lu Ming. This was a monarch weapon. Combined with Luo Pokong's law of penetration, its power was indeed terrifying. However, Luo PC's cultivation base was only at the upper tier of the absolute saint realm, the same as Lu Ming's. In a battle of the same level, no matter how strong he was not strong enough to face Lu Ming. Lu Ming threw a punch and it hit the tip of the long spear. Luo Pokong's penetration law was useless against Lu Ming. The long spear buzzed and even bent. Then, it bounced out fiercely, and the tail of the spear hit Luo Pokong's body. Luo Pokong let out a blood-curdling scream, and his body retreated frantically. In his heart, there was a strong sense of disbelief. He felt like he was dreaming. When he first met Lu Ming had to do his best to defeat him. But now, Lu Ming could defeat him and injure him with a casual move. As time passed, the gap between the two of them grew bigger and bigger. Luo Pokong, who claimed to be a peerless genius, found it hard to accept. Lu Ming's figure did not stop as he charged towards Luo Pokong. His cold, killing intent sent chills down Luo Pokong's spine. "Lu Ming, how dare you touch me?" In the Daluo Heaven sect's pride. "If you touch me, no one in Yuan Mountain can save you," Luo Pokong roared. The Daluo Heaven sect had a great emperor in charge. He did not believe that Lu Ming would dare to touch him. If he touched him, Lu Ming would also die. "In my life, many people have threatened me, but in the end, they all died, and am still alive," Lu Ming said coldly. His saint power burst out, and the law of chaos buzzed. He threw a punch, and a phantom of the prison-suppressing steel pressed toward Luo Pokong. Boom! Luo Pokong was directly sent flying to the ground, smashing heavily on the ground, creating a huge pit that was 10 miles deep. Luo Pokong lay in the pit, twitching and spitting out blood. That attack had broken all his bones and armor, and even his saint heart had cracked. At this moment he was extremely terrified. Endless fear enveloped him. If Lu Ming really wanted to kill him, he was not just saying it. He was not afraid of the Daluo Heaven sect at all. At this moment he was scared to death. Buzz! Lu Ming's body appeared in the huge pit, and he looked down at Luo Pokong coldly. "Oh, don't!" Luo Pokong shouted as he vomited blood. "Stop! Lu Ming, if you dare to kill him, the Daluo Heaven sect will not let you off." An emperor-to-be of the Daluo Heaven sect shouted. Luo Pokong was the king body of the Daluo Heaven sect, so he couldn't die. Hee hee! Lu Ming sneered. The Daluo Heaven sect would not let him go? Even if the Daluo Heaven sect would let him go, he would not let them go. This was the oath he made to Jianghu. In the future, he would definitely trample on the Daluo Heaven sect, no matter what price he had to pay. Lu Ming stretched out his hand and grabbed Luo Pokong's monarch weapon spear. "No," Luo Pokong shouted in fear and tried to escape. However, the spear radiance pierced through the air. The monarch weapon spear pierced through Luo Pokong's forehead and nailed him to the ground. Luo Pokong's eyes were wide open, full of unwillingness. Many people in the surroundings were also shocked. The Daluo Heaven sect's king physique, Luo Pokong, was killed by Lu Ming just like that. The people of the Daluo Heaven sect would go crazy if this news spread. However, the murderous intent in Lu Ming's eyes was still as cold as a knife. "This is only the beginning," Lu Ming muttered and pulled out his monarch weapon spear. He soared into the sky and looked into the distance. At this moment, Luo Tongqiong was fleeing frantically. He did not dare to stay there at all. "Bubble, give me a hand." Lu Ming sent a voice transmission to Bubbles. "All right." Under the Dayan elixir furnace, the bubble responded. It waved its hands and the power of space-time laws enveloped Lu Ming's body through the void. Lu Ming's body moved as if he was traveling through the void, and he chased after Luo Zhangqiong at an extreme speed. With the help of Bubble's space-time law, Lu Ming's speed was even more astonishing. He was approaching Luo Zhangqiong at a rapid speed. Damn it. The Emperor-to-be of the Daluo Heaven sect stopped their attacks on Feng Ling and Long Chen and chased after Lu Ming. Luo Pokong was still fine, but if Luo Zhangqiong was killed by Lu Ming, the Great Emperor's fury would descend upon them and they would all die. They chased after Lu Ming crazily, but their speed was too far behind Lu Ming's and they could not catch up at all. Lu Ming's figure was like a flickering light and a passing shadow as he approached Luo Zhangqiong very quickly. Lu Ming pointed with his finger. The force of the chaotic finger of calamity condensed into a line and pierced through Luo Zhangqiong. Break! A battle-axe appeared in Luo Zhangqiong's hand. This battle-axe was extremely powerful. It was definitely a monarch weapon, and not an ordinary one at that. The battle-axe slashed out and blocked Lu Ming's finger force. However, his body was also sent flying and his face was flushed. Although his cultivation base had broken through to the perfected absolute saint realm, his combat strength was much weaker than Lu Ming's. Chapter 1972. Chapter 1972. Human-shaped hammer Luo Zhangqiong retreated and Lu Ming followed. He waved his right fist and the shadow of the prison-suppressing steel appeared, pressing down on Luo Zhangqiong. Strip, strip! Luo Zhangqiong roared. The law of deprivation enveloped the battle-axe, constantly depriving the external energy to increase the power of the battle-axe. Then he slashed it at Lu Ming. Clang! The battle-axe hit the shadow of the prison-suppressing steel, causing a violent vibration. Although Luo Zhangqiong had blocked the shadow of the prison-suppressing steel, his body was constantly retreating. His face was flushed and blood flowed from the corner of his mouth. However, Lu Ming did not stop his attack. There were 9 shadows of the prison-suppressing steels in the sky, and they kept pressing down on Luo Zhangqiong. Luo Zhangqiong could only try his best to resist. At the same time he roared, "A bunch of trash! Hurry up and save me! Do you all want to die?" Of course, he was shouting at the Emperor-to-be of the Daluo Heaven sect. The Emperors-to-be looked terrible and flew toward him with all their might. Luo Zhangqiong's status in the Daluo Heaven sect was too special and noble. He was the grandson of a great emperor and had unparalleled talent. Even those void emperors and true emperors had to give him face. What's more, these Emperors-to-be could decide their life and death with a word. "No one will be able to save you today," Lu Ming said coldly. Countless runes appeared in his left hand and transformed into a true dragon that pounced at Luo Zhangqiong. With the 2 types of nomological laws operating at the same time, Luo Zhangqiong was even more outmatched. He was instantly sent flying and spat out a large mouthful of blood. Buzz! Lu Ming moved and appeared above Luo Zhangqiong's head. He pointed out the chaotic finger of tribulation and attacked Luo Zhangqiong. Boom! Luo Zhangqiong's body was blasted down like a cannonball, just like Luo Pokong. Then, Lu Ming swooped down and caught up with Luo Zhangqiong. He held the monarch weapon spear that he had just gotten from Luo Pokong in his hand. He poured his saint power into the spear, making it hum, and stabbed at Luo Zhangqiong's forehead. Not good! Stop! The Emperor-to-be of the Daluo Heaven sect shouted in shock. Lu Ming was simply too audacious. He did not care about Luo Zhangqiong's status at all. First, he killed Luo Pokong, and now he even wanted to kill Luo Zhangqiong. All! Luo Zhangqiong was extremely frightened and let out a crazy roar. He was unwilling, he was mad with hatred. However, he would not beg for mercy. If he did not die, he would definitely kill Lu Ming in the future. The Emperor-ranked long spear pierced towards Luo Zhangqiong's glabella with a terrifyingly sharp chi. However, just as the spear was about to hit him, a black metal token suddenly appeared between Luo Zhangqiong's eyebrows. Clang! The spear struck the metal token, causing sparks to fly. However, this metal was extremely hard, and the long spear could not penetrate it. The long spear trembled, and a terrifying force pushed Luo Zhangqiong to the ground at an even more astonishing speed. However, as Luo Zhangqiong was falling, the number of metal plates increased rapidly. In the blink of an eye, it covered his entire body. It was like a black armor that covered Luo Kangqiang's entire body. Boom! Luo Kangqiang's body smashed into the ground, causing the earth to shake and a huge pit to appear. However, the next moment, Luo Zhangqiang stood up as if nothing had happened. Grandpa, huh? Luo Zhangqiang laughed with joy. He knew that this was the protective emperor weapon that his grandfather had secretly placed in his body. It could save his life at a critical moment. However, he didn't tell him in advance, most likely because he wanted to train him. With the protection of the sovereign weapon, he knew that he would be fine. Lu Ming could not kill him. The Emperor's blessing. The Emperor-to-be of the Daluo Heaven sect were also ecstatic. Will you be fine if you hide in the armor? Lu Ming's eyes were cold. He held the long spear and swooped down like a stream of light, stabbing Luo Kangqiang's head in an instant. However, the long spear still failed to pierce through Luo Kangqiang's armor. This armor was truly sturdy and immortal. Lu Ming, you can't kill me. If I don't die today, you'll be the one to die in the future. Luo Zhangqiang roared. His killing intent was extremely cold. Today, Lu Ming had almost killed him. This made his killing intent toward Lu Ming even stronger. Clang. Lu Ming could not be bothered to talk nonsense with him. He swept his long spear and Luo Kangqiang's body flew out directly. He crashed into the wall of the big pit and his body sank into the ground. However, the next moment, Luo Zhangqiang shot up from the ground not far away. Buzz! Lu Ming moved and charged at Luo Zhangqiang. Strip away the divine seal. Luo Zhangqiang cast the divine seal of deprivation in an attempt to counterattack, but it was shattered by Lu Ming's finger. At the same time, Lu Ming cast the sealing scroll of the 9 scrolls of Array Dao. The dense runes enveloped Luo Zhangqiang and tried to seal him. Then, Lu Ming grabbed Luo Kangqiang's neck and pushed him toward the ground. Boom! Luo Zhangqiang crashed heavily on the ground, creating another huge pit. Bang! Then, Lu Ming stepped on Zhangqiang Luo's head, causing his head to sink into the rock. Ah, Lu Ming, it'll kill you! Luo Zhangqiang roared. It's really a turtle shell. It's comparable to that fellow Dandan's turtle shell. Lu Ming muttered. At this time, in the distance, a little turtle sneezed and cursed. Which bastard is scolding me? He's scolding me. Charge! After that, the little turtle dashed toward a large tomb shrouded in clouds and mist, disappearing from sight. As for Lu Ming, he continued to torture Zhangqiang Luo. He stepped on Zhangqiang Luo's crotch, causing him to scream in pain and bow his body. Although the armor is hard, there is still pain. Continue. Lu Ming stepped on Luo Kangqiang's crotch again. Luo Zhangqiang roared like a beast. Inside the armor, his face was red with tears and snot. Release young Master Luo. You're looking for death. At this moment, the Emperor-to-be of the Daluo Heaven sect rushed over with all kinds of weapons and attacked Lu Ming. Some of them took out their monarch weapons and attacked Lu Ming. Lu Ming grabbed one of Luo Kangqiang's legs and used it as a hammer, swinging it at the Emperor-to-be. An Emperor-to-be was waving a monarch weapon at Lu Ming, but when he saw that it was Luo Zhangqiang who was smashing at him, he quickly reduced his strength. Therefore, the consequences he faced were miserable. Luo Kangqiang's body hit him hard. The Emperor-to-be screamed and flew hundreds of miles away. He lay on the ground, twitching. Bang! Bang! Then, Lu Ming rushed into the sky, grabbed Luo Zhangqiang, and swung him like a hammer at the Emperor-to-be of the Daluo Heaven sect. Luo Kangqiang's armor was really sturdy and immortal. It was even harder than many sovereign weapon-level giant hammers. Lu Ming smashed it with all his might, and the power was amazing. A few emperors-to-be with weaker cultivation were hit. Their bodies broke and they were crushed to death. The Emperor-to-be of the Daluo Heaven sect had some concerns. Even though some of them had sovereign weapons, they didn't dare to attack with full force for fear of injuring Luo Zhangqiang. In that case, their consequences would be even worse. Chapter 1973. Chapter 1973. The sullen Luo Zhangqiang Bang! Bang! Lu Ming grabbed one of Luo Kangqiang's legs and used him as a weapon. He kept throwing him out. Several emperor-to-be of the Daluo Heaven sect were smashed away. One of them was even smashed to death. The others vomited blood and flew back. Haha, awesome. This weapon is really suitable for me. Lu Ming laughed heartily, feeling extremely carefree. On the other hand, Luo Zhangqiong was furious. He kept roaring and wanted to rush out and fight with Lu Ming, but he finally held back. He was too aggrieved. At first, Lu Ming stepped on his face until his face was stuck in the rock. Then, Lu Ming stepped on his crotch, causing him so much pain that he wished he was dead. At this moment, Lu Ming was using him as a weapon to kill the people of the Daluo Heaven sect. He was mad with hatred and kept roaring to vent his anger. He knew that he had lost too much face. No matter how great his achievements were in the future, even if he were to break through to the great sovereign realm like his grandfather, this matter would still become a shame for the rest of his life. He would be laughed at behind his back. Lu Ming, it'll make you wish you were dead. I swear. Your family, your friends, they're all going to die. Luo Kangqiang's voice sounded like a madman. What are you shouting for? It was you who killed the people of your Daluo Heaven sect. I'm just doing it for you. Lu Ming berated. Luo Zhangqiong spurted out a mouthful of blood. What did he mean by he was the one who killed the Daluo Heaven sect? What did he mean by Lu Ming was just doing it for him? Don't use me as a weapon if you have the ability. Bang. Lu Ming waved Luo Zhangqiong and sent another emperor-to-be flying. He spat out a mouthful of blood. As for Luo Zhangqiong himself, he was also dizzy from the impact. Don't fight him head-on. An emperor-to-be of the Daluo Heaven sect shouted and retreated, not daring to approach Lu Ming. The other emperors-to-be did the same. When they saw Lu Ming, they ran away in a hurry. As a result, a funny scene formed at the scene. Lu Ming was chasing Luo Zhangqiong in the sky, while the emperor-to-be of the Daluo Heaven sect was running around in panic. Many people were speechless. The young master of the Daluo Heaven sect, the grandson of the great emperor, the sovereign who had deprived his king body, and nearly 100 emperor-to-be of the Daluo Heaven sect had been defeated by Lu Ming. After Luo Zhangqiong had been abused, he had become Lu Ming's weapon. It was really speechless. At the same time, everyone was shocked. This also proved Lu Ming's power. Hey, don't run. There are so many emperors-to-be here, but you don't dare to fight me. The Daluo Heaven sect is a great emperor-level force. How disappointing. Lu Ming held Luo Zhangqiong upside down and ran wildly in the air, chasing after the emperor-to-be of the Daluo Heaven sect. The faces of the emperor-to-be of the Daluo Heaven sect turned green with anger. If you have the ability, then put Luo Zhangqiong down. You're carrying Luo Zhangqiong, and you're still fighting like this? The emperors-to-be roared in their hearts. Lu Ming, if you have the ability, come and fight me. At this moment, the sound of the stellar river reverberated throughout the entire area. He was also very unhappy. In the Yuan Mountain Sacred Academy, Luo Zhangqiong had sided with him and was a member of the Heaven Emperor Alliance. Now that he was so badly beaten by Lu Ming, he had lost all face. At this moment, the Star River and the Death Blade had already exchanged hundreds of moves. The Death Blade was gradually losing the upper hand. After all, the Eternal Star River had long broken through to the perfected Absolute Saint realm and was very close to the Emperor-to-be realm. In terms of mastery of its nomological laws, it was stronger than the Death Blade slash. After a long battle, it gradually gained the advantage. Han Xinghe, your cultivation base is 2 levels higher than mine, and you're an eternal sun, yet you're challenging someone with a lower cultivation base than you. But isn't the Hung family all like this? Lu Ming sneered. If you don't dare to fight, then just say it? The Star River and the Death Blade exchanged another blow, forcing the Death Blade to retreat dozens of miles. Han Xinghe, you don't have to try to goad me. But today, I'm really going to fight you. With that, Lu Ming stopped chasing the people of the Daluo Heaven sect. He carried Luo Zhangqiong and walked toward the Star River. Many people were shocked, including Huang Ling, Long Chen, and the others who were Lu Ming's enemies. Was Lu Ming really going to fight against the galaxy? Although Lu Ming's combat strength was strong, he was definitely not a match for the galaxy. Perhaps he was going to join forces with the Death Blade. Many people thought so. "Let me go!" Luo Zhangqiong roared. "Shut up!" Lu Ming stepped forward and stepped on Luo Kangqiong's crotch. Luo Zhangqiong shrieked like a eunuch and arched his body. Runes kept flowing out of Lu Ming's palm and covered Luo Kangqiong's armor, sealing him. He could not resist and could only be carried by Lu Ming like a weapon. Everyone was stunned. Was Lu Ming going to use Luo Zhangqiong as a weapon to fight against the galaxy? "Death Blade, leave the galaxy to me." Lu Ming stepped forward and came to the Death Blade. "Leave it to you?" The Death Blade's eyes were filled with doubt. "What's wrong? You don't believe me? Don't worry, it'll help you beat this galaxy up. You can go help Huang Ling and the others." Lu Ming said. This Lu Ming is so arrogant. He actually wants to fight alone in the galaxy. Also, didn't you hear his tone? He actually ordered the Death Blade to help Huang Ling and the others. What a joke. With the Death Blade's personality, it's good that he didn't draw his sword against him. Some people were discussing in low voices. Although many people were still in the midst of a chaotic battle, there was a group of people who had yet to make a move. They stood in the distance and watched the battle. After hearing Lu Ming's words, they all shook their heads. However, what happened next was beyond their expectations. The Death Blade nodded and turned into a terrifying blade light, killing the Emperor-to-be of the Heng family. The Blade of Death was extremely terrifying. With one slash, 3 Emperor-to-be from the Heng family were killed. "Damn it, let's kill him together." The Emperor-to-be of the Heng family was furious. He joined forces and launched a terrible attack on the Death Blade. However, the Death Blade was surrounded by the Light of Death, and the area within 100 meters of him was like a land of death, like a god of death. The Light of Death merged with the Saber Light and broke the opponent's attack, killing an Emperor-to-be. An ordinary Emperor-to-be would be killed by the Death Blade in one move. Death Canopy. Then, a terrifying gray gas emanated from the Death Blade's body. This was the Qi of Death, and it covered at least half of the Dayan elixir furnace. The Emperors-to-be retreated when they saw the Qi of Death. In this way, the pressure on Huang Ling, Long Chen, and Ouyang Wushuang was greatly reduced. They could already block the other party's attack. Xing's expression turned ugly. His body was shrouded in eternal light, like a god, eternal and immortal. Bang! Then, the galaxy took a step forward and a terrifying aura pressed down on Lu Ming like a storm. He did not want to waste any more time. He wanted to end the battle quickly and kill Lu Ming as soon as possible to get back the Celestial Emperor's sword. "Let's fight," Lu Ming muttered. His spine was suffused with a blood-red light. A drop of blood appeared, and a powerful and terrifying force gushed into Lu Ming's body. The third bloodline. Chapter 1974. Chapter 1974. Lu Ming vs. Galaxy. Lu Ming immediately activated his third blood meridian. This was because Lu Ming was very clear that if he did not activate his third blood meridian, he would not be a match for the galaxy. Heng Xinghe was the eternal sun, and was on par with him in every aspect. He had mastered the eternal law and cultivated the eternal light. His cultivation level was about to reach the Emperor-to-be realm, 2 levels higher than Lu Ming's. Even his superpower was stronger than Lu Ming's, having reached 99%. In terms of spirit body, even if Lu Ming had fused 3 chaos laws, he might not be completely stronger than the galaxy. He was born with an eternal body and was protected by the heavens. Once he entered the martial royal realm, his spiritual body would directly evolve into a superior grade heavenly spiritual body. In fact, the children of God were all like this. Lu Xiangxiang's body of life, Ouyang Ma's body of reincarnation, and the body of death of the Death Blade were all inborn. Once they broke through to the Emperor level, they would have a high-grade heavenly spirit body. Furthermore, because they were born with this constitution, their spirit bodies contained a special substance. For example, the body of life was born with the Qi of life, and the body of chaos was born with the Qi of chaos. So their spiritual bodies were stronger than the superior grade celestial spiritual bodies. Strictly speaking, Lu Ming could not be considered the son of God. This was because everything he had was acquired through cultivation, not inborn. His spiritual body and chaotic laws were all acquired through cultivation. He was not born with the chaotic body. However, the others did not know this. When they saw that Lu Ming controlled the laws of chaos, they called him the Son of Chaos. Now, Lu Ming's spirit body had cultivated 3 strands of chaos qi. Compared to the galaxy, he might have a slight advantage. Lu Ming's other advantage was that he had 2 saint hearts and 2 types of laws. However, this was not enough. It was not enough to make up for the gap between him and the galaxy. Therefore, he needed a 3rd bloodline to make up for it. The 3rd bloodline seemed to have endless energy. Even at Lu Ming's current realm, he could still feel that the energy was endless. What he could borrow was just a drop in the ocean. Lu Ming's body exuded an endless murderous intent. His eyes started to turn blood red, and his long black hair also turned blood red. His aura was constantly rising, and he could faintly compete with the galaxy. Xing's eyes narrowed and he said coldly, "Borrowing external power is ultimately not enough to withstand a single blow." He charged at Lu Ming as if he had teleported. At the same time, a combat sword appeared in his hand. It was undoubtedly a sovereign weapon. The sword light pierced through the air and slashed at Lu Ming. Boom! Lu Ming was even more straightforward. He lifted Luo Zongqiong and threw him at the galaxy. Luo Zongqiong hid in his armor and roared. He was extremely aggrieved. He had completely become Lu Ming's weapon. Xing Chen's expression changed as well. He flicked his wrist and the sword gleam changed. It cut toward Lu Ming from another direction. However, Lu Ming flung Luo Zongqiong away and crashed into the sword gleam of the galaxy. The sword gleam of the galaxy changed again, but Lu Ming could always keep up with the sword gleam by waving Luo Zongqiong. "Lu Ming, let Luo Zongqiong fight me if you can." Xing's face, which had been calm all this time, was now filled with anger. There was a ball of fire in his chest. Lu Ming brandished Luo Zongqiong, wanting to fight him head-on. Luo Kangqiang's status was extraordinary. He was the grandson of the great emperor. In terms of status, he was even higher than Lu Ming. Although the Heng family also had a great emperor, that great emperor was Lu Ming's ancestor. He was afraid that if he injured or killed Luo Zongqiong, he would offend the great emperor of the Daluo Heaven sect. "Of course, you have a monarch weapon, I don't have a proper one. This is mine." Lu Ming shook Luo Kangqiang's arm. Luo Zongqiong was dizzy from the swing. He almost spat out a mouthful of blood when he heard Lu Ming's words. When did he become Lu Ming's sovereign weapon? "Then one won't use my monarch weapon, I'll fight you." "In the galaxy. You have a monarch weapon but you don't use it? Are you stupid? I'm going to use it anyway." Lu Ming looked at Luo Zongqiong with disdain. He swung Luo Zongqiong and smashed him toward the Star River with astonishing power. The armor on Luo Kangqiang's body was extraordinary. It was sturdy and immortal. Lu Ming pondered. Even a Void Emperor would not be able to break it so easily. It was perfect as a weapon. The two of them exchanged a few blows. For a moment, Xing Chen was at a disadvantage and could not display his full strength. Around them, many people were looking at each other. That Lu Ming is really shameless. Some people were indignant. Xing's cultivation level is 2 levels higher. How can Lu Ming not use some tricks? Why don't you say that Xinghe is shameless? Some people felt that Lu Ming's behavior was very normal. "Look, the platform is reacting." At this moment, someone exclaimed and pointed at the stone platform. By now, many people had already died in battle. The blood of those who had died in battle was actually attracted by a mysterious force and flew towards the stone platform, seeping into the ancient altar. The ancient altar was shining. Then, a blood-red bridge extended from the stone platform to the other side of the abyss. However, the blood-red bridge only extended a section before it stopped. Blood sacrifice. It's really blood sacrifice, but there's not enough blood. Someone shouted, "Kill!" At the scene, the battle cries shook the sky. Some of the more powerful forces began to kill the weaker forces. More and more people joined the chaotic battle. It was a chaotic scene. People were killed continuously and would fall here forever. Xing Chen's eyes glowed as he shouted, "Lu Ming, sacrifice your blood to the bridge." With that, the sword radiance of the Xingxing River surged. It no longer seemed to care about Luo Zhangqiong. The combat sword cut through the air and slashed toward Lu Ming with an extremely sharp aura. Lu Ming picked up Luo Zhangqiong and smashed him. Clang! The battle sword of Xingxing River hit Luo Kangqiang's body accurately, making a loud noise and sending sparks in all directions. Luo Kangqiang's body shook violently. He was dumbfounded by the powerful force. Lu Ming's body swayed and he could not help but take 2 steps back. Bush, bush. The sword light of the Xingxing River was like a flying immortal from beyond the heavens, slashing at Lu Ming continuously. Lu Ming circulated all the energy in his body and stepped forward. Luo Zhangqiong was like a black iron hammer, constantly smashing. Clang, clang. The two of them exchanged more than 10 blows in a row. The void rumbled and shook continuously. The terrifying force turned into shock waves that spread out in circles. Some of the people who were closer to them were hit by the shock wave and were forced to retreat, their faces pale. Many people were shocked. This kind of combat strength was terrifying. It was just a shock wave, but ordinary Emperor-to-be couldn't bear it. How amazing was this? What shocked more people was that Lu Ming could really fight against the galaxy. This made it difficult for many people to calm down. The He family, the Daluo Heaven sect, the only divine temple, and other powerful forces. There were also ancient Moon Holy Lands WN family, Golden Crow race, Sky Wolf Tower, and others. Their hearts were in turmoil. Lu Ming was now able to compete with the galaxy. This rate of improvement was too shocking and shocking. Chapter 1975. Chapter 1975. Chapter 1975 Peak Battle Hengxing River was known as the #1 genius among the younger generation in the land of Yuan Mountain. Didn't that mean that the current Lu Ming was already standing at the peak of the younger generation in the Yuan Mountain and it would be difficult for him to find a worthy opponent? The powerhouses of the Golden Crow clan, the Wan family, and other forces all looked very gloomy. When he got out, he had to report this matter and think of a countermeasure. If this continued, Lu Ming's continued growth would be a disaster for them. Lu Ming and Heng Xinghe exchanged more than 10 moves and it was difficult to determine the winner. The Star River seemed to have some apprehensions and was afraid of breaking Luo Kangqiang's armor. Clang! After another explosion, the seal runes that had been covering Luo Kangqiang's armor collapsed. Boom! Luo Zhangqiong burst out madly. The law of deprivation circulated at full force and enveloped Lu Ming, trying to devour him. Lu Ming's expression changed slightly. He finally knew why the galaxy had attacked him previously. Its purpose was to destroy the sealing power on Luo Kangqiang's body and allow him to regain his freedom. Eternal Sword Tide. How could the galaxy miss this opportunity? In an instant he stabbed more than 1,000 times. Endless sword light, like a tide of swords, stabbed toward Lu Ming. All of them were aimed at his vital points. At this moment, Lu Ming wanted to seal Luo Zhangqiong again and use him as a weapon. However, it was impossible. He might even put himself in danger. Buzz! Lu Ming let go of Luo Zhangqiong and retreated rapidly. He kept punching out with both his fists and illusionary prison-suppressing steels appeared one after another, blocking the sword radiance that was coming for him. As soon as Luo Zhangqiong escaped, his body flickered madly and he put a long distance between him and Lu Ming. Lu Ming, you'll remember this. Just you wait. Luo Kangqiang's angry voice rang out. You'll remember this as well. One believe everyone will remember this. Lu Ming smiled faintly. Luo Zhangqiong was so angry that he almost vomited blood. His body trembled with anger. That's right. Today's events had been remembered by everyone. Soon, the news would spread throughout the entire Yuan Mountain. In the future, when others see him, they would think of this scene. Luo Zhangqiong was a joke. He was furious. He could not wait to cut Lu Ming into 8 pieces. He could not wait to kill all the people who witnessed today's events. You piece of trash, get lost. Lu Ming could not be bothered with Luo Zhangqiong. He waved his hands in disdain and turned his gaze to the galaxy. Luo Zhangqiong was so angry that he almost wanted to fight Lu Ming to the death. Lu Ming, you don't have Luo Zhangqiong with you now. Let's see how you can stop me. The eternal light on the stellar river became more and more brilliant, as if it did not belong to this world. With one less trash, it's perfect for a battle. Let's go, Lu Ming said calmly. He circulated his holy power to the extreme and was surrounded by the light of chaos. He looked like a god of war. Buzz, buzz. The two of them moved at the same time, charging towards each other. The eternal sword. Chaos finger. A beam of sword light and a huge finger collided in the air and then disappeared. Lu Ming and the galaxy's figures also collided. Lu Ming slashed down again. An illusionary image of the prison-suppressing steel appeared. It was as big as a mountain and carried an aura that could suppress the heavens. It suppressed the star river. The sword radiance of the galaxy slashed and split the prison-suppressing steel's shadow. However, he was faced with even more prison-suppressing steel's illusory images. With a wave of Lu Ming's hand, 9 illusionary prison-suppressing steels appeared and were blasted at the galaxy. At the same time, countless inscriptions appeared on his left hand and spread toward the galaxy. This was the power of a seal, trying to seal the galaxy. However, when the sealing power approached the galaxy, it couldn't break through the eternal light of the galaxy and was blocked. Then, the eternal light shook and countless runes shattered. My body is eternal. What can mere King Path laws do to me? Xing Chen's voice was heard. At the same time, a terrifying sword light burst out and shattered 9 prison-suppressing steels. There was another sword radiance that pierced through the prison-suppressing steel's shadow and headed for Lu Ming. However, when the sword light hit the light of chaos, it was as if it had hit an iron wall. It made an ear-piercing squeaking sound and sparks flew. Kill! Lu Ming let out a long howl. His blood-red hair fluttered in the wind. He had borrowed the power of the third bloodline and crossed the gap between him and the eternal star river. The two of them were engaged in a great battle. Lu Ming used the prison-suppressing heavenly art and the chaos finger of tribulation at other times. In combination with the Array Dao law, he exploded with shocking combat strength. He could kill an ordinary emperor to be in one move. However, the eternal star river was indeed powerful. The sword beam pierced through the sky and the body became eternal. It was not weaker than Lu Ming. The two of them exchanged hundreds of moves in the blink of an eye and neither of them had a clear winner. Boom. The two of them exchanged another blow. The eternal light and the chaotic light trembled, and the two of them flew back at the same time. Lu Ming, this secret technique of yours is indeed very powerful. However, the aftereffects should be very serious. I wonder how long you can last? Xing Chen's eyes flashed with a sharp light. He believed that the power of Lu Ming's third bloodline should be a strange and terrifying secret skill that could increase one's combat strength for a short period of time. However, such a secret skill usually had huge side effects. Try it and you'll know. Lu Ming smiled faintly. Naturally, he would not explain. The third bloodline had endless energy. Even if he continued to use it, it would not be exhausted. Lu Ming, you're no match for me even if you use your secret skill. I'll show you my strongest combat power. Xing Chen said coldly. The eternal light on his body grew brighter and brighter, as if it was about to burn. The eternal god bell. At this moment, the aura of the star river rose sharply again. His body glowed brightly and finally turned into a big bell, enveloping him. Clang. The bell hummed, and a visible sound wave rushed toward Lu Ming. Lu Ming's expression changed abruptly. He had a very dangerous feeling in the face of this sound wave. Primal Chaos Tribulation Finger. Without hesitation, Lu Ming cast the Chaos Finger of Tribulation and pointed with all his might. However, as the sound wave rushed past, the Chaos Finger of Tribulation actually exploded inch by inch. The terrifying sound wave rushed past and continued to rush toward Lu Ming. What a terrifying power! Lu Ming's expression was grave as he retreated quickly. At the same time, he punched out with both fists. Pieces of illusionary prison-suppressing steels appeared in front of him to block. Bang! Bang! The phantom image of the prison-suppressing steel exploded continuously. Lu Ming's body trembled as he felt a terrifying force acting on his body, as if it was going to tear his body apart. Even the light of chaos on his body could not withstand it. Lu Ming had to retreat 100 miles before he could successfully resist this force. My God, is this the true combat power of the galaxy? That's too terrifying. Who can be his match under the rank of a martial supreme? Lu Ming is going to be defeated. He's not his match. Lu Ming's cultivation level is too low after all. It's hard to bridge the gap between our cultivation levels. In the surroundings, although there were people fighting, there were still people who paid attention to the battle between the Hengxing River and Lu Ming. Chapter 1976. Chapter 1976. Defeating the Galaxy. Chapter 1976. Chapter 1976. Defeating the Galaxy. Everyone was shocked by the battle prowess of the Galaxy. It turned out that he had not used his full strength just now. Now that he had burst out with his full strength, he sent Lu Ming flying back 100 miles in one move. It was shocking. At this moment, Feng Ling, Long Chen, and the others all looked worried. The situation on their side was much better. With the death blade joining, the pressure on them was greatly reduced. An ordinary emperor-to-be would be killed by the death blade. Many of them had died at the hands of the death blade. Their blood was absorbed by the platform, and the blood-red bridge grew longer and longer. It extended to the front and didn't know if it reached the other side. The Star River strode in the air and headed toward Lu Ming. On his body, a huge bell enveloped him. It was as if it was transparent, and one could clearly see the shape of the galaxy. Lu Ming, you're no match for me. In front of Yongheng, everything is meaningless. Xing Chen spoke indifferently, as if he had transformed into a god that was high above, looking down on the common people. Clang. The eternal god bell shook for the second time. Terrifying sound waves whizzed out. The space rippled like water, and it was as if there were thousands of soldiers and horses charging toward Lu Ming. Retreat! Some of the people behind Lu Ming had a drastic change of expression. They retreated one after another, afraid that they would be swept in. With their combat strength, if they were swept in, they would definitely end up in pieces. Lu Ming's expression was grave. He raised his cultivation to the maximum and tried his best to resist. The Tai Chi formation plate flew out and pressed forward. At the same time, the primal chaos tribulation finger and the prison-suppressing heaven art were unleashed. However, it was all useless. The Tai Chi formation disc was knocked away and lost its light. The primal chaos tribulation finger, even the prison suppression heavenly art, was unable to block it and was shattered. It was not the chaos apocalyptic finger or the prison-suppressing heavenly art that was inferior to the other party. It was just that Lu Ming's cultivation level was insufficient and his mastery was inferior to the other parties. It was difficult for him to unleash such a powerful force. Buzz! Lu Ming's figure retreated again. This time, blood seeped out of the corner of his mouth. Lu Ming, you're pretty good to be able to block 2 of my attacks. However, your fate is already decided today. Kill, all living things are silent. Clang. The eternal god bell shook for the 3rd time. This time, it was even more terrifying. The terrifying sound waves actually turned into an army. They were like the divine soldiers in the legends. They held divine weapons and rode strange beasts. Their murderous intent soared to the sky as they came crushing towards Lu Ming. The entire void was shaking. The attack this time was undoubtedly more terrifying. Lu Ming was knocked back and spat out a mouthful of blood. His face was pale. You are the first person in the same generation to block 3 of my eternal god bell's attacks. Hand over the celestial emperor's sword and I'll let you die in one piece. Xing Chen was incomparably arrogant. His snow-white robe fluttered in the wind. He approached Lu Ming at top speed as if he was sure to win. Hee, the power is indeed not bad, but it's still not enough. Lu Ming chuckled. At this moment his eyes were very cold. It seemed that he had to give it his all. Now, he could only increase the power of his 3rd bloodline. The 3rd bloodline was too strange. Lu Ming had always avoided borrowing the power of the third bloodline. However, he had no choice but to do so now. Come, power! Lu Ming's eyes flashed with a hint of ferocity. Boom! A surge of blood-colored energy roared wildly and rushed into Lu Ming's body. Lu Ming roared like a wild beast. A terrifying killing intent burst out and enveloped the surroundings. The galaxy was hit by this killing intent and its expression changed. This killing intent made him feel as if he was facing an extremely powerful and crazy existence that wanted to slaughter all living beings and destroy everything. Chi. At that moment, Lu Ming's body swelled up. Bone spikes protruded from his body, making him look ferocious, like a demon who had walked out of purgatory. Even Huang Ling, Long Chen, Ouyang Wushuang, and the others were shocked. They had never seen Lu Ming in such a state. Star River, watch me break your stupid bell. Lu Ming howled, his eyes filled with malevolence and boundless killing intent. However, Lu Ming's current cultivation level was not the same as before. Although he had endless killing intent, he had not lost his mind. Buzz! Lu Ming's figure moved like a shadow. The next moment, he appeared in front of the galaxy. Almost no one had seen how Lu Ming moved. He was too fast. Buzz! Lu Ming's claw reached out. At that moment, Lu Ming's nails had grown much longer. They were like sharp blades as they clawed at the galaxy. Xing's expression changed, and he quickly launched an attack. Clang! The Eternal God Bell trembled and a sound wave that was even more terrifying than the previous one was released. The sound wave collided with Lu Ming's claw, producing a harsh and unpleasant sound. In the end, Lu Ming roared and tore with all his might. The sound wave was directly broken by Lu Ming. The next moment, Lu Ming approached the stellar river and threw a punch. Thump! The punch landed on the Eternal God Bell and a terrifying power instantly exploded. The Eternal God Bell trembled madly and Xing Chen's expression changed. His body was like a cannonball as he was sent flying. Buzz! Lu Ming stomped on the void, causing it to tremble. He burst forward and caught up with the Star River, his fists punching out like a storm. Shake! The Eternal Star River roared and the Eternal God Bell shook again. A terrifying sound wave rushed out. This time, the sound wave was even more terrifying. Any ordinary emperor-to-be who came would die. Boom! 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 Lu Ming's fist was covered in a layer of blood-colored energy. It was indestructible and could break anything. It kept bombarding the sound waves and eventually destroyed them. Then he punched the Eternal God Bell. Gotcha! The Eternal God Bell was a remarkable power condensed from the eternal laws of the Stellar River. Now, a crack had appeared. Moreover, Lu Ming's fist force continued to bombard the Eternal God Bell. More and more cracks appeared on the Eternal God Bell. Finally, with a bang, it exploded. Xing's face was pale. He spat out a large mouthful of blood and retreated rapidly. However, Lu Ming's speed was astonishing. He caught up in an instant and his violent attacks continued to pour out. Xing Chen took out his imperial sword again and used all his strength to slash out sword light. However, they could not stop Lu Ming at all. At this moment, Lu Ming had borrowed the vast power of the third bloodline and had almost reached his limit. He could barely retain a trace of intelligence. If he continued to borrow the power of the third bloodline, he would be drowned by endless killing intent and turned into a killing puppet. It could be seen how violent Lu Ming's current strength was. In just a few moves, Xingxing River was sent flying and spat out a large mouthful of blood. In the distance, Luo Zhangqiong was almost scared to death. What kind of monster was Lu Ming? He could even defeat the Eternal Star River. He was simply undefeatable. No, after we get out, one must ask Grandpa to send some experts to kill him. He must be killed. Luo Zhangqiong roared in his heart. He had a feeling that if Lu Ming did not die, he would be the one to die in the future. Chapter 1977, Celestial Emperor's Corporeal Body. Chapter 1977, Celestial Emperor's Corporeal Body. Luo Zhangqiong was shocked, not to mention the others, who were even more shocked. The Star River had actually lost. He wasn't defeated by an elder, nor was he defeated by a group of people. Instead, he was defeated by another young man in a direct confrontation. The number 1 genius of Mount Yuan in the Hengxing River, the undefeated legend, was shattered today. Of course, another legend was born. If news of today's matter spread out, the entire Yuan mountain would be shaken, especially the Heng family. It was as if their faith had collapsed and they were terrified. The Hengxing River was the representative and pride of the Heng family. Ever since they started cultivating in the Hengxing River, they had never lost to anyone of the same generation. But today, he was defeated. On the other hand, Huang Ling, Long Chen, and the emperor-to-be on their side were ecstatic. Lu Ming had defeated the Stellar River. The situation could be completely reversed. He merely borrowed some secret skill. Who knows if Lu Ming will become a good-for-nothing or his strength will be greatly reduced once this secret skill is used. What's the use of a temporary victory? Luo Zhangqiong said unhappily, and his voice resounded throughout the whole place. Of course, he was getting further and further away from Lu Ming and was prepared to escape at any time. Luo Kangqiong's words made many people's eyes flash. Indeed, Lu Ming's state clearly showed that he had used some kind of terrifying secret skill. Such a secret technique had actually increased Lu Ming's abilities so much. The aftereffects were definitely shocking. He would become a good-for-nothing immediately. It might be a little exaggerated, but if his source was damaged and it affected his future cultivation, Lu Ming would no longer be a match for the galaxy. Some of the people who had a grudge against Lu Ming prayed in their hearts and hoped that this was the case. At this moment, Lu Ming could not be bothered with the voices of the outside world. He continued to rush towards the galaxy. At this moment, Lu Ming's killing intent was like a tidal wave. Who cared if he was the eternal sun? He would kill him first. Xing Chen's expression was ugly, but he did not dare to clash head-on with Lu Ming. He turned into a rainbow light and rushed toward the blood-red bridge. Buzz! Lu Ming followed closely behind and rushed toward the blood-red bridge. Could it be that the giant bridge has already reached the other side of the abyss? The Stellar River definitely knows something. Now that he's charging towards the giant bridge, he must have reached the other side and entered the 9th world. Let's charge too. Charge! The others also rushed toward the bridge, including the emperor-to-be of the Heng family, the Daluo Heaven sect, and the Golden Crow tribe. The originally intense chaotic battle had also stopped at this moment. The black mass of people all rushed onto the giant bridge and ran forward. We're going too! Ouyang Wushuang, Huang Ling, Long Chen, and the others led a group of experts and rushed toward the giant bridge. After they crossed the giant bridge, the Dayan elixir furnace shrank rapidly and flew toward Lu Ming. It flew into the space between Lu Ming's eyebrows and disappeared. This giant bridge was extremely long and wide, and it led straight into the depths. The galaxy was running at the forefront at an astonishing speed. However, Lu Ming was still closing the distance between him and the galaxy. Not long after, they saw the giant bridge pass through a thick fog. Many people were shocked. Could it be that the 9th world was behind the fog? The 9th world couldn't be entered directly from the outside. It was said to be the world where undyings lived. What exactly was there? The galaxy was the first to rush into the fog. Lu Ming followed closely behind. After Lu Ming rushed into the fog, he realized that he had arrived in a void. The void! There was no land here. It was like the starry sky in the universe. He was floating in the void. The Star River was not far away, but he seemed to be stunned as he looked ahead. Lu Ming could not help but look over. At first glance, his heart trembled violently and he was stunned. A figure was sitting cross-legged in the void in front of him. But that figure was too big and too majestic. This person's body was even taller than any mountain. Just by sitting there, he was like a planet in the vast universe. In front of it, humans were as small as dust. But the most important thing was that this was a golem. It was like a huge stone statue, but it was very lifelike. This was a young man who looked to be in his 30s. His eyes were closed as he sat cross-legged in the void, but he gave off a feeling of unparalleled magnificence, unparalleled in the world and the world. What shocked Lu Ming the most was that he had seen the golem's appearance before. Initially, The two great sovereigns had a great battle at the Heavenly Emperor Mountain. In the end, the blood of the great sovereigns fell and the Heavenly Emperor Mountain had a strange change. At that time, a figure had condensed at the Heavenly Emperor Mountain. Around 30 years old, with unparalleled magnificence, he seemed to be the figure of the Heavenly Emperor. This stone man in front of him looked exactly the same as the figure that had appeared at the Heavenly Emperor Mountain. Could this be the statue of the Celestial Emperor? Many thoughts flashed through Lu Ming's mind. Buzz, buzz, and NBSP whoosh. At this moment, there were people passing through the fog and appearing in the void. But when they saw the giant golems, they were all stunned and shocked. Celestial Emperor, this is the Celestial Emperor. A Celestial Emperor statue? No, it's the corporeal body, the Celestial Emperor's corporeal body. In the end, an emperor-to-be from the Hung family couldn't hold back his shock and shouted. Everyone's heart was in shock. Celestial Emperor's corporeal body? This was the Celestial Emperor's corporeal body. Legend had it that the Celestial Emperor had fallen in the distant past. Could this really be the body left behind by the Celestial Emperor after his fall? It was very possible. There were many ancient ruins in the Lotus world, and some places seemed to have suppressed terrifying creatures. If it wasn't for the Celestial Thearch, who could have done it? In the distant past, for some unknown reason, the Celestial Thearch suppressed some of the more powerful living beings here. However, he himself died and his physical body was left here, sitting in the ninth world. No wonder he couldn't directly enter the ninth world. No wonder the other worlds would have the legend that the ninth world was home to undying beings. Undying was the Celestial Emperor. As for Lu Ming, he thought of more things. He thought of the Celestial Emperor's sword, which was also a stone sword. The sword was made of stone, and this huge body was also made of stone. What was the connection between these two? Could it really be the Celestial Emperor's corporeal body? Could it be that the Celestial Thearch wasn't a human, but a strange life form? At this moment, countless people's eyes were burning with fire. That was the fire of greed. If this giant golem was really the Celestial Emperor's corporeal body, then its value would be unimaginable. That was the Celestial Thearch. Now, the Heavenly Emperor was a legend, and the Great Emperor was the peak expert. A great emperor could almost dominate an area, be invincible and control the great Tao. As for the Celestial Thearch, he was even more unimaginable. Legend had it that the Celestial Thearch was almost the same as the Heavenly Tao. Moreover, he did not suffer any major tribulations and was truly immortal. When one became a Celestial Emperor, there would be no more tribulations of heaven and earth, and they would truly live as long as heaven and earth. Such a person was unimaginably strong. One could only imagine the value of the body left behind by such a person. No matter if it was true or false, they couldn't miss it and would make people go crazy. In the next moment, many figures rushed towards the giant golem, their eyes shining with greed. Chapter 1978. The Celestial Thearch Isn't Dead? Chapter 1978. The Celestial Thearch Isn't Dead? The Celestial Emperor's corporeal body was too shocking and too tempting. Regardless of whether it was real or fake, he had to give it a try. Even if he only managed to knock a piece off his body, it would still be priceless. Even martial emperor powerhouses would be envious if he brought it out. One figure after another charged forward. Celestial Emperor's corporeal body is mine. Whoever touches it will die. Xing Chen shouted, and his entire body turned into a sword light and slashed out. The sword light slashed down, and blood splattered everywhere. Heads flew off one after another. In an instant, more than 10 Emperor-to-be were killed by the Star River. The difference between an ordinary Emperor-to-be and the Star River was too great. They could be killed instantly without any resistance. The River of Laws was easily cut open and pierced. The other Emperors-to-be were shocked and flew away. The galaxy was too overbearing. Star River, our battle is not over yet. Let's continue. Lu Ming's blood-red hair fluttered in the wind. His killing intent surged like a tide. His eyes were blood red as he stepped toward the Star River. Within a certain range around him, no one dared to step in except those who were close to Lu Ming. When the Star River saw Lu Ming coming over, its expression turned ugly. It turned into a ray of light and rushed toward the huge stone man. Form the formation. Stop him with the monarch weapons. The voice of the galaxy rang out. The Emperor-to-be from the Hung clan started to move. Their figures flickered and formed a magical formation. Those who had monarch weapons also took out their weapons. Even an Emperor-to-be couldn't fully exert the power of a sovereign weapon, but when many of them gathered together to form a formation, the power was still terrifying. Beams of sword chi shot towards Lu Ming. Lu Ming threw a few punches and the void trembled, destroying the sword chi. But then, even more sword chi came at him. In the Hung family, most of the people cultivated the eternal spring laws and paid attention to continuous cultivation. Boundless sword chi blasted toward Lu Ming, blocking his path. No matter how strong Lu Ming's combat strength was, he could not charge out in a short period of time. And the stellar river was rapidly approaching the golems. His speed was very fast, and the others were a bit behind him. Buzz. A ray of death light slashed over and blocked a large amount of sword chi. Lu Ming, go after the stellar river. I'll take care of this for you. The death blade came through the air, and the sky of death covered the area, blocking a large area of sword light. Lu Ming's blood-red eyes swept over the death blade. Without saying anything, he soared into the sky, turned into a ray of blood-red light, and chased after the stellar river at extreme speed. They looked at the golem and it didn't seem far from them, but when they flew, they knew that they were very far away from it. Because that golem was simply too big. In the void, streaks of rainbow light flew towards the giant golem like meteors. The eternal Star River was far ahead. However, Lu Ming was in hot pursuit and was slowly approaching. This flight took a full half an hour. With their speed, they had flown for half an hour. One could imagine how far this distance was. And at this time, they finally neared the enormous golem. At this moment, Lu Ming and the galaxy had already left the rest far behind. They were far ahead. Lu Ming was already approaching the galaxy. Damn it, what kind of secret technique is this guy using? It still hasn't disappeared. The galaxy roared in its heart. Lu Ming's body was covered in a bloody glow, and his aura was still powerful. Normal secret techniques wouldn't be able to sustain such a powerful attack for so long. However, Lu Ming seemed to be fine. He burst out with all his strength and rushed towards the giant golem at extreme speed. He had a feeling that the blood in his body was boiling, as if he had developed a sense of closeness with the giant golem and the common people. It was as if this golem had a bloodline connection with him. It must be the Heng family's ancestor. It must be. The galaxy roared in its heart. The closer he got to the giant golem, the stronger the feeling he had. He felt that as long as he flew to the golem, he would be able to get it. At that moment, Lu Ming's eyes were filled with surprise. That was because in his sea of consciousness, the stone sword, the celestial emperor's sword, was constantly trembling, buzzing, and whistling. It was as if he had formed a connection with the stone man. The stone sword, perhaps it really is the sword of the celestial emperor, the sword of this stone man. A thought flashed across Lu Ming's mind. However, he did not slow down and gradually approached the galaxy. Boom! Lu Ming threw a punch and a terrifying fist radiance blasted toward the Star River. The Eternal God Bell. Xing Chen shouted and unleashed his full power. Another round of the Eternal God Clock enveloped him. The Eternal God Bell trembled and released a terrifying sound wave that rushed towards Lu Ming. However, it was broken by Lu Ming's punch. Clang, clang. As the galaxy flew toward the stone golems, it shook the Eternal God Bell. The terrifying sound waves transformed into all sorts of sharp attacks that charged toward Lu Ming. Lu Ming's moves were very simple. He cast the prison-suppressing heavenly art and punched out, destroying the sound waves. He slowly approached the galaxy. The two of them fought as they flew, and in the blink of an eye, they had exchanged more than 10 moves. Boom, boom. A few rays of fist radiance broke through the sound waves of the Star River and bombarded the Eternal God Bell of the Star River. The eternal god bell trembled and dense cracks appeared on it. Xing Chen's expression was ugly. He gritted his teeth and charged towards the golems. In the past, no one in his generation could break his eternal god bell. However, today, it was broken by Lu Ming one after another. When I become an emperor-to-be, I'll definitely kill you. Xing Chen roared in his heart. He was careless and took another punch. His body shook and he almost vomited blood. At this moment, they were already very close to the golems. Only after getting close did they discover that the golems were really too large and incomparably majestic. They were probably only as big as a strand of the golem's hair. At this moment, a shocking scene appeared. The stone golem suddenly opened its eyes. This scene made Lu Ming, Heng Xinghe, and the others' hearts race. The golem opened its eyes. Could it be that the celestial Thearch was not dead? If it was true, it would be a huge matter. The golem opened its eyes, only to see that its two eyeballs were like two deep abysses, pitch black. The next moment, two rays of light shot out from the stone golem's eyes and condensed into a figure in front of Lu Ming and Xing Chen. He was dressed in a long robe, looking magnificent. He was around 30 years old and had a kind of spirit that cared about the world. Wasn't that the image of the heavenly emperor? At this moment, everyone seemed to have forgotten to breathe. They were all dumbfounded. The celestial Thearch was really not dead? The descendant of the Heng family greets the celestial emperor ancestor. Xing He suppressed his shock and bowed. Lu Ming of the junior generation pays his respects to the celestial Thearch. Lu Ming also cupped his fists and bowed. No matter what, the celestial Thearch was a senior expert, so it was normal for him to bow. Greetings, heavenly emperor. The others also saluted the heavenly emperor from afar. The celestial Thearch's gaze swept across the crowd. There's no need to be so polite. I'm already dead. What's left of me now is only a trace. It's like a candle in the wind that can be extinguished at any time. These words caused everyone's hearts to tremble. It seemed that the heavenly emperor had really fallen. This figure was just a trace of the heavenly emperor's mark. Chapter 1979. Different Choices. Chapter 1979. Different Choices. The celestial Thearch had already fallen and only left behind an imprint. How did he die? This was the heavenly emperor, an unrivaled existence. Who could kill him? Could he also be a heavenly emperor? Everyone's hearts were filled with questions. You're here for my physical body, right? The celestial Thearch spoke again. Everyone's face turned pale. Now that the mark of the celestial emperor had appeared, they didn't dare to tell the truth. Even if the celestial emperor only had a wisp of the mark left, he could kill them with a single thought. Lu Ming did not say anything. The galaxy did not say anything either. The celestial Thearch's mark's gaze eventually landed on Lu Ming and the galaxy. The two of you are somewhat related to me. If you want to force your way forward, I won't stop you. Xing Chen's eyes lit up and he cast a cold glance at Lu Ming. The celestial Thearch's mark. It was said that Lu Ming was related to the celestial Thearch's mark. He could not help but think of the celestial Thearch's sword. I'm a descendant of the celestial emperor. This celestial emperor's corporeal body is mine. The galaxy roared in its heart. But one have to remind you. At this moment, the celestial emperor's mark continued to speak, but its expression became very serious. Since you've made it this far, I won't stop you. As long as you step forward, you'll be able to obtain the celestial emperor's corporeal body. However, this will cause great changes. The people in Yuan Mountain will be plunged into misery and suffering, and blood will flow like rivers. Countless people will die, including your family and friends. A single thought can affect the life and death of countless people. You have to consider this carefully. Lu Ming's expression changed. And NBSP, if he went forward, he would cause great changes. The people would be in misery and blood would flow like rivers. Even his friends and family would be affected. How did this happen? Not only him, but the other people's faces also changed greatly. The celestial emperor's mark wouldn't do anything without a purpose. All kinds of thoughts flashed through everyone's mind. They'll give you 10 breaths to consider. If you don't come forward, then retreat. The Heavenly Emperor's mark said. Lu Ming did not think too much. He shook his head slightly and retreated. He had cultivated his entire life with the thought of reaching the peak of martial Tao, but more than that, he wanted to possess great strength to decide his own fate and protect his family and friends. If the celestial Thearch's physical body put his family and friends in danger and the people in misery, Lu Ming would rather not have it. This was not his path of martial arts. Bang! Lu Ming retreated, but the galaxy stepped forward. Are you sure? The Celestial Emperor's mark asked. What does the life and death of others have to do with me? As long as I can reach the peak and become eternal, everything will be worth it. Xing's indifferent voice sounded. In his heart, he only cared about himself. Any other life or death, even if it was the life or death of his loved ones, was worth it as long as it could help him. You'll never be successful if you are selfish. In the crowd, Huang Ling said hatefully. But this kind of person is also very terrifying. Luo Tianyi said. This kind of person only thought about himself and did things unscrupulously. It was indeed terrifying. Bang, bang. Xing Chen continued to step forward, his body becoming faster and faster. He seemed to be attracted by a mysterious force as he flew towards the stone man at an extreme speed. The next moment, the body of the Star River actually directly entered the body of the stone man and disappeared. The Celestial Emperor's mark sighed in disappointment. Then, its body collapsed and disappeared. Buzz. At this moment, a terrifying aura rippled from the giant stone man. Wisps of faint light emanated from the stone man's body. Gotcha. The next moment, the golem seemed to move, and a cracking sound rang out. What's going on? Celestial Emperor's corporeal body is moving. I'm not seeing things, right? He's indeed moving. His arm is moving. My God, how can the Celestial Emperor's corporeal body move? Could it be the Star River? He has merged into Celestial Emperor's corporeal body and is controlling it. Someone shouted in shock. Lu Ming's expression changed abruptly. He retreated rapidly and shouted, "Retreat! Quickly retreat!" Boom. At this moment, the Celestial Emperor's corporeal body exploded with a terrifying aura. This aura was as vast as the heavens and was impossible to predict. It was like the heavenly Tao that was impossible to resist. This was the pressure of a Celestial Emperor. The Celestial Thearch's corporeal Bodhi's eyes looked in Lu Ming's direction, filled with a cold and indifferent light. Lu Ming, today is the day you die. A voice came from the Celestial Emperor's corporeal body. It was filled with cold, killing intent. It was the sound of the galaxy. Lu Ming's face was very gloomy. He did not expect that he would merge into the Celestial Thearch's physical body and control it. He had thought that he would only get it. If he had known this earlier, he would have stopped the Star River even if he didn't want the Celestial Thearch's corporeal body. At this moment, he could only retreat. Lu Ming retreated hastily. So did Huang Ling, Long Chen, Ouyang Wushuang, and the others. Lu Ming, you can't escape. The voice of the galaxy sounded again. Boom. The Celestial Emperor's corporeal body suddenly stood up, and an unimaginably terrifying aura burst out, enveloping the entire ninth world. Everyone was unable to move under this force, including Lu Ming. Lu Ming seemed to have heard a terrifying roar erupting from his third blood meridian. It seemed to be very unhappy, but it seemed to be suppressed by a powerful force. Only Lu Ming could hear the roar. Lu Ming, you're still far from being my match. The voice of the eternal Star River was heard again. The Celestial Thearch's physical body stood in the air, as high as the sky. A terrifying aura constantly spread towards Lu Ming. Then, the Celestial Thearch's physical body stretched out a large hand and grabbed Lu Ming. The giant hand covered the sky and was so powerful that it was impossible to escape or resist. Lu Ming, Feng Ling, Long Chen, and the others were shocked, and their faces were very ugly. However, Lu Ming's face was filled with surprise. Because at this moment, in his sea of consciousness, the Celestial Emperor's sword was shaking crazily, and it was suffused with mysterious light. Buzz. The next moment, The Celestial Emperor's sword rushed out of his sea of consciousness and hovered above Lu Ming's head. It was also rapidly growing in size. Soon, an extremely huge sword appeared, and the aura it gave off was just as shocking. That's the Celestial Emperor's sword. Many people shouted in shock. The Celestial Emperor's sword had appeared. Could it be that it was going to fight against the Celestial Emperor's corporeal body? Slash. With a single thought, the Celestial Thearch's sword slashed out violently at the palm of the Celestial Thearch's physical body. Boom. A terrifying explosion erupted, and the entire world was shaking. Many people's expressions changed drastically. Their bodies trembled and they staggered back with blood flowing from the corners of their mouths. After the sound of the collision, the Celestial Emperor's sword flew back and hovered above Lu Ming's head. The Celestial Emperor's massive corporeal body also took a few steps back. The Celestial Emperor's sword is mine. I'm the descendant of the Celestial Emperor. Lu Ming, what right do you have to wield the Celestial Emperor's sword? Give it to me. The Eternal Star River bellowed and controlled the Celestial Thearch's physical body. It stepped on the void and charged toward Lu Ming. Chapter 1980. A Change, the Great Emperor Enters. Chapter 1980. A Change, the Great Emperor Enters. Xingqian controlled the Celestial Thearch's physical body and punched Lu Ming. Slash. Lu Ming muttered and the Celestial Thearch's sword slashed out again. There was another terrifying boom, and the Celestial Emperor's sword and physical body were both pushed back. What they didn't know was that at this moment, a shocking change was happening in the Lotus world. The moment the Celestial Thearch's corporeal body rose, an invisible force rippled out and spread to the other 8 worlds. At this moment, some of the most ancient ruins in the 8 worlds let out earth-shaking roars. The divine time island of the Myriad Sea realm let out a heaven-shaking roar as the power of time swept through the heavens. At the bottom of the underground cave in the Myriad Beast realm, the roars were even more shocking. Some people were still taking the risk, but they were directly injured or killed by the power of the roar. It was the same in other worlds. It was as if a supreme demon was about to be born. Outside the Lotus world, below the Heavenly Emperor Mountain, from all directions, a dense crowd had gathered. Of course, most of them were below Absolute Saint, but there were also a lot of powerhouses above Martial Emperor. There were even a few figures standing at the highest point, surrounded by divine light. It was a shocking sight. They were the great emperors. Everyone was waiting quietly. The people who had entered the world of the Lotus Flower had been here for quite some time. They did not know what kind of opportunities they had obtained. Many people were very envious, but at the same time, they were also looking forward to it. Boom. At this moment, the cave in the Lotus world suddenly burst out with a powerful light that shot out of the clouds. But then, the light disappeared and the entire cave became dark. Even the projection of the lotus in the sky disappeared. The Lotus world's isolation power has disappeared. A great emperor asked in bewilderment. What? The others were also greatly shocked. The Lotus world's isolation energy had disappeared. Did this not mean that those above the rank of Martial Supreme could also enter? Many of the Martial Emperor powerhouses' eyes shone with a burning light. Roar! However, at this moment, a terrifying howl came from the cave. It was as if a supreme demon was roaring, but it also seemed like a supreme demon was about to be born. It was too terrifying. What's going on? What is this? What exactly is in the world of the Lotus Flower? How could there be such a terrifying sound? Did the people who entered earlier encounter these existences? Many people's faces turned ugly. The Emperor's expressions were solemn. The force of separation has indeed disappeared. Let's go in and take a look. This was the voice of Emperor Notionless. As soon as he finished speaking, he took a step forward and rushed into the cave. Then, the emperors from the Heng family, the He family, and the Daluo Heaven sect all rushed into the cave. Emperor Formless and the other 3 appeared in the sky above the Lotus world as soon as they entered the cave. Although there was a power in the Lotus world that wanted to draw them to one of the petals, The power of a great emperor was strong enough to resist this power and choose which petal they wanted to enter. Emperor Formless took a step forward and charged into one of the petals. The other 3 great emperors also rushed into the different petals. Outside, the true emperors and void emperors all revealed greedy looks. This was the remains of the celestial emperor. How could they not be tempted? Even if there were terrifying roars coming from below, they would not retreat. One figure after another rushed into the cave. At this moment, a few figures flickered in the sky in the distance. Their speed was unbelievably fast as they rushed into the cave with the many martial sovereigns. No one could see the appearance of these figures clearly. When these monarch-level experts entered, they also entered the different flower petals. The world that Emperor Formless had entered was the 10,000 Seas realm that Lu Ming had first entered. The moment he appeared in the Myriad Sea realm, he looked in the direction of the Divine Time Island. Immediately after, the space split open and he stepped in. In the next instant, the space outside the Divine Time Island split open, and Emperor Formless figure appeared. A terrifying roar rang out from the Divine Time Island. What powerful time power! There's actually such a powerful creature sealed here. Could it be left behind by the Celestial Emperor? Emperor Notionless murmured. His eyes were like stars, capable of seeing through everything as he gazed into the depths of Divine Light Island. Nothing could be hidden from his eyes. He could see all the living beings at the foot of the Time God Mountain clearly. Emperor Formless' expression changed. Alien race. This is the evil god race. Emperor Formless' face darkened. Since I've touched you, I'll completely obliterate you. Just as he was about to make a move, he suddenly looked into the distance and shouted, "Who's there?" Sela. The space over there suddenly cracked open, and a few footsteps came out. These figures were completely shrouded in the pitch-black demonic light, emitting a terrifying aura. The aura of one of them was no weaker than Emperor Notionless. He was a peak great emperor. Wuxia, one haven't seen you for many years. How have you been? The great emperor realm expert said. Demonic spirit and evil spirit, it's you. Emperor Formless' cold voice rang out. If there were other people here, they would definitely be very shocked. This was because Mo Ling was the legendary cult master of the demon spirit cult. Many years ago, he was active near the Heavenly Emperor City. He was a terrifying force that specialized in killing martial sovereigns or those with the potential to become a sovereign. And the evil spirit was the evil spirit cult master. Even though this person was not a great emperor, he was still an existence that stood at the peak of the true emperor realm. The masters of these powerful evil forces had come here at the same time. Evil spirits, you guys go and destroy the seal. Old man Wuxia, leave him to me. The demon spirit religion master's voice rang out. His body moved, turning into a terrifying demonic light as he charged toward Emperor Wuxia. You are indeed from the evil god clan. Don't even think about letting the evil god clan out. The Emperor Formless roared as his aura erupted. He struck out with his palm, sending a terrifying palm print towards evil spirits group on the island. Wuxia, your opponent is me. Devil Spirit Religion's master's devil chi soared into the sky, and his terrifying devil blade slashed out, splitting the sky in half and blocking Emperor Formless' palm print. Get lost. Emperor Formless struck out with his palms in succession. The great Tao imbued his body, and each palm strike contained the power to destroy the world. However, the Devil Spirit Religion's master was also a great emperor. He was in the same realm as Emperor Formless, and his battle power was also terrifying. His demonic blade swept across, blocking Emperor Formless. Boom, boom. On the other side, Evil Spirits Group had successfully rushed into the Time God Mountain and shattered the remaining 2 ancient altars. Let's go! The huge figure at the foot of the Time God Mountain roared. His aura was violent and shocking, and it rushed out like a stormy wave. The entire Divine Light Mountain exploded, sending rocks flying everywhere. Clang, clang, clang. The massive figure struggled as the chains around its body collided with one another. The entire Divine Time Island was shaking violently. Chapter 1981. The Birth of a Terrifying Creature. Chapter 1981. The birth of a terrifying creature. The massive figure struggled and tugged at the chains, causing the entire Divine Time Island to tremble. Some places even began to crack, and the entire Divine Time Island was on the verge of collapse. "Come and help me cut off this damn demon suppression chain." The giant figure spoke. "Yes, my lord, yes, master." Evil Spirit and the others bowed and accepted the order. They then exploded with terrifying attacks at the chains. Buzz, buzz, buzz. The cultivation of these figures was extremely terrifying. Although they hadn't reached the Great Emperor realm, they weren't far from it. All kinds of attacks landed, and the chains shook and sparks flew. With the help of the giant figure, one of the chains broke with a clang. "Ha, I'm finally going to be born. Hengyu, if you didn't kill me back then and used my power to suppress the void passage, you'd be too smart for your own good. 111 make you regret this. Ha. And NB ha." The giant figure laughed crazily, its aura even more astonishing as it struggled. Although Emperor Formless was anxious, he was being held back by the demon spirit religion master and was unable to stop him. Buzz. And NBSP whoosh. The sound of chains breaking could be heard. Then, a terrifying aura shot up into the sky, shaking the sky. Boom. At this moment, the entire Divine Time Island crumbled apart as a massive figure stepped out. As he walked forward, his figure began to shrink. Finally, he became the size of a normal person, revealing his true appearance. This was a dark-skinned, middle-aged man. He was naked, and the aura he gave off was extremely shocking. He wasn't any weaker than Emperor Wuxia or the demon spirit religion master. He was also a great emperor. Boom. The middle-aged man threw a punch at Emperor Formless. Emperor Formless blocked with his palm, fighting against the demon spirit religion master and the middle-aged man. Although the middle-aged man had been sealed for countless years and wasn't as strong as he had been in his prime, he was still an emperor-level existence. When he joined forces with the demon spirit religion master, Emperor Wuxia was at a disadvantage. And in another world, the Myriad Beast Realm, another figure descended from the cave where Lu Ming obtained 2 of the 9 sealed scrolls. This person's aura was extremely shocking. He was also a great emperor. Moreover, it was not the great emperor from the He family, the Heng family, or the Daluo Heaven sect, but an unfamiliar great emperor. A huge blade appeared in his hand. With a slash, the entire cave was cut in half. At the bottom of the cave, an excited roar was heard, and the iron chains clanked against each other. "Quick, help me cut off the chains." An excited voice came from the depths of the cave. The man in the air once again slashed out with his giant blade. A few saber gleams slashed down, and the sound of iron chains breaking could be heard. Then a loud roar sounded, and the earth cracked. An extremely huge lizard crawled out from the depths of the earth. It was like a beast that had come from the prehistoric times, and it was terrifying. This giant lizard was actually a great emperor-level existence. "Let's go to the other worlds and save the others." The man in the air opened his mouth and the space cracked open. He and the giant lizard stepped into the space and arrived in another world. The emperor of the Heng family was in one of the most ancient ruins in this world. A powerful being is sealed within. Emperor Heng's face was gloomy. Suddenly, the space split open and the giant lizard and the great emperor expert arrived. A great battle immediately erupted. The emperor blocked the emperor from the Heng family while the giant lizard moved to rescue the powerful beings in the ruins. Because of this, the Heng clan great emperor didn't dare to continue fighting and retreated. As for the other 3 experts, they continued to the other worlds and rescued the sealed experts. As the number of enemies increased, the great emperors of the He family and the Daluo Heaven sect were scared away and didn't dare to stop them. Not long after, all the powerful existences in the 8 ancient ruins of the 8 worlds were rescued. All of them were at the Great Sovereign Realm. This was definitely a terrifying force. Return to the 8 worlds, move the worlds, open the void passage, and welcome our tribe. A voice rang out. It turned out that the experts who were sealed had returned to their original worlds. On the temporal island in the myriad sea realm, Emperor Formless was at a complete disadvantage. And Enbisby suddenly, the middle-aged man retreated back to where the Divine Time Island had been. A shocking ripple exploded out as a pillar of light shot into the sky and spread in all directions. At this moment, the entire 10,000 sea realm was shaking. In the Ming Yen country of the vast sea region, Ruan Tianjiao stood in the sky above the imperial palace. He looked up at the sky with a serious expression and said in a low voice, "The heavens and earth are shaking and the roars are endless. What's going on with this world? Is it related to outsiders? Lu Ming, what happened to you?" It wasn't just Ruan Tianjiao. Everyone in the 10,000 sea realm, as well as other worlds, looked up at the sky. Their faces were pale and they felt fear. They felt as if a great disaster was about to befall them. In the ninth world, Lu Ming controlled the celestial Thearch's sword and fought against the celestial Thearch's physical body controlled by the eternal Star River. In the blink of an eye, they had exchanged dozens of moves. Suddenly, terrifying roars came from beyond the heavens. They came one after another with astonishing power. Many people's expressions changed drastically, not knowing what had happened. "Lu Ming, the celestial Thearch's sword is mine. Hand it over." The eternal Star River roared and the celestial Thearch's physical body rushed toward Lu Ming again. In his eyes, the celestial emperor's physical body and the celestial emperor's sword were both his. Lu Ming was not qualified to control them at all. Clang. Lu Ming controlled the celestial emperor's sword and fought with the other party. After more than 10 moves, they were still in a stalemate. Boom, boom, boom. Suddenly, heaven and earth rumbled and the entire sky started to shake. It was as if the entire world was being moved. Buzz, buzz. At this moment, the celestial emperor's sword and the celestial emperor's corporeal body trembled uncontrollably, emitting a brilliant light. The next moment, a figure flew out of the celestial Thearch's corporeal body. It was the Star River. What's going on? The galaxy roared. The celestial Thearch's sword above Lu Ming's head trembled and flew out. It was held by the celestial Thearch's physical body. What should have happened has happened, but one can't just ignore it. The celestial emperor's corporeal body actually opened its mouth to speak. After saying that, it took a step forward and its huge figure suddenly disappeared. "No, my celestial emperor corporeal body," the galaxy roared, extremely unwilling. Celestial emperor's corporeal body had suddenly left him, and he found it hard to accept. With the celestial emperor's corporeal body, he could instantly become a peak expert in the world and become an overlord. Martial artists rely on themselves. Only when they're strong can they be the strongest. It's ridiculous that they only think about external things. Lu Ming remained calm. The celestial emperor's sword had flown away, so it was gone. The path to the peak could not be sustained by a single sword. Only by improving oneself could one have the power that would forever belong to one. "Lu Ming, damn it," Xingqian shouted coldly. He was blaming everything on Lu Ming. If Lu Ming had not stopped him and he had left with the celestial Thearch's corporeal body earlier, this might not have happened. Chapter 1982, Chapter 1982, Chapter 1982, Invasion of Foreign Races? Chapter 1982, Chapter 1982 Invasion of Foreign Races. "I think you're the one who should die." Lu Ming's eyes were cold. He took a step forward and walked toward the galaxy. Xingqian's expression changed. He did not have the celestial Thearch's physical body and was no match for Lu Ming. He quickly retreated and roared, "Lu Ming, I thought you don't need external help. If you're so capable, why don't you fight me with your true abilities?" "All right, let's battle at the same level," Lu Ming said. "You," Xingqian River gritted his teeth. He was not confident that he could win against Lu Ming in a battle of the same level. He might even lose more miserably. How could he agree to this? "You're 2 levels higher than me, yet you're asking me to fight you with my true abilities. You don't dare to fight me at the same level. What a joke." Lu Ming sneered and mocked. Xing Chen's eyes were very cold. If he could, he would have cut Lu Ming into 8 pieces. But at this moment, he could only escape. Buzz. Suddenly, the void trembled as a powerful force descended and enveloped everyone. The next moment, the world spun and they disappeared from the 9th world. Lu Ming found himself in the sky above the Lotus world, in the huge underground cave. Around them, figures kept appearing. Huang Ling, Long Qin, Ouyang Wushuang, Luo Tianyi, and the others had all come out. Of course, Luo Zongqiong, Heng Xinghe, and the others had also come out. It wasn't just them, but those who were exploring other worlds were also moved out by a powerful force. Look, what's that? The 9 worlds are moving. A vortex has appeared in the heart of the lotus. Someone shouted. Lu Ming and the rest looked down and were shocked. From this position, they could clearly see the situation below. Below him, the 9 petals of the lotus flower were slowly moving outward. And at the center of the lotus, a vortex appeared. Suddenly, a terrifying roar came from the vortex. Then, 2 pairs of giant claws stretched out from the vortex. These 2 pairs of claws had sharp nails and were covered in scales. They looked very ferocious. Then, the 2 pairs of claws grabbed one side of the vortex, as if they were trying to expand the vortex. A shocking scene appeared. The vortex was actually slowly growing larger. Then 2 huge creatures poked their heads out of the vortex. The claw just now had come from them. Lu Ming's pupils contracted rapidly. Lu Ming was all too familiar with this kind of creature. Its entire body was covered in scales, and it had a 3rd eye on its forehead. It looked like a 3-eyed god. Could this vortex lead to the 3-eyed god race? The 3-eyed god race is about to invade. Lu Ming's mind was spinning and his heart was extremely heavy. When he was weak, he followed the ancient desolate city and mistakenly entered a small island in the heavenly realm. It was the first time he came into contact with the 3-eyed god race, and after that, he would come into contact with them from time to time. He had seen the Titan Longhorn Beetle during the Battle of Providence, and later during the Hunyuan Sex Assessment. And NBSP at the same time, he began to understand more and more about the 3-eyed god race. The 3-eyed god race didn't belong to the heaven realm or the primordial realm, but to another world. However, countless years ago, they attacked the heaven realm, causing a great war to break out in the heaven realm. The people were plunged into misery and suffering, and blood flowed like rivers. Countless experts had fallen. Dayan once said that the final battle would soon arrive, and it was also related to the 3-eyed god race. Could it be that the 3-eyed god race was about to attack? He finally understood what the Celestial Emperor's seal meant when it said that the 3-eyed god race was invading. These 2 3-eyed gods were completely different from the ones Lu Ming had encountered in the past. Their bodies were too burly and incomparably huge. As they supported the vortex grew larger and larger. Kill all the way to the primordial realm. My clan will rule the world. Roars came from the vortex, causing everyone's expression to change. What is it? Someone's voice trembled. Could it be that the previous 9 worlds were suppressing this passageway? Someone speculated with an ugly expression. At this moment, the space above the heart of the lotus flower cracked open, and a huge figure appeared. It was the Celestial Emperor's corporeal body. From this angle, the Celestial Thearch's body seemed to be about the same size as the 3-eyed god. Evil god race, get back to your world. The Celestial Emperor's corporeal body roared as he slashed down with the Celestial Emperor's sword. The arm of a giant 3-eyed creature was cut off by the Celestial Emperor's sword. The 3-eyed creature roared, and a beam of destructive light shot out from its 3rd eye toward the Celestial Emperor's body. However, the Celestial Thearch's corporeal body punched out and destroyed the light of destruction. At the same time, the battle sword stabbed down, piercing the 3-eyed creature's forehead. Blood gushed out as the giant sword reached the hilt. Sword chi exploded, crushing the 3-eyed creature's head into pieces. After the 3-eyed creature died, its claws let go of the vortex, and its massive figure disappeared into it. The celestial Thearch's corporeal body wielded a combat sword and was about to attack another three-eyed creature. But at this moment, space cracked open and a few figures stepped out. One of them was the demon spirit religion master. You're only left with a physical body, yet you still want to stop us. Today, I'll destroy your physical body as well. The devil spirit religion master coldly said as he charged toward Celestial Emperor's corporeal body. Celestial Emperor's corporeal body slashed at the demon spirit religion master with a backhand, sending him flying. Even if the Celestial Emperor only had his physical body left, his power was still shocking. Selah. At this moment, the space kept cracking open, and a figure stepped out. The dark-skinned man from the Divine Time Island and the gigantic lizard from the Myriad Beast Realm were both emitting a boundless aura. Great Emperor! They're all great emperors! Someone shouted in shock. These people who had suddenly appeared were all great emperors. Could these existences be the sealed existences in the ruins? Someone voiced out his guess. Many people were silent. It seemed that something big was going to happen. The previous changes might have been related to these powerful existences. Some people cast their gazes toward the galaxy. They remembered that the Celestial Emperor's mark had said that if they stepped forward, they would cause great suffering and blood to flow like rivers. Perhaps he was referring to this. Wasn't all of this caused by the galaxy? Xinghe snorted coldly, his face gloomy. He didn't care about the lives of the people, but what did the life and death of others have to do with him? What he was thinking about now was how to get his hands on Celestial Emperor's corporeal body and Celestial Emperor's sword. Boom, boom. A terrifying battle had erupted. The demon spirit religion master, the giant lizard, and the other experts attacked the Celestial Emperor's corporeal body at the same time. The void at the heart of the lotus flower trembled. Hengyu, you've suppressed me for countless years. Today, I'm going to devour your body. The giant lizard roared and spewed out terrifying flames that surged toward Celestial Emperor's body. The celestial Thearch's corporeal body slashed the flames apart. Chapter 1983. Chapter 1983. The Great Emperor Falls. Chapter 1983. The Great Emperor Falls. The celestial Thearch's corporeal body slashed through the giant lizard's flames and charged toward it. However, the other great emperor powerhouses also made their moves at the same time. All kinds of terrifying attacks bombarded the celestial emperor's body. Hengyu, not killing me that year was your biggest mistake. Today, one will tear your body apart. Those powerful living beings had been suppressed for countless years. When they saw the celestial emperor's body, they were filled with brutal intent and endless killing intent. Their eyes were red as they unleashed terrifying attacks. Although these beings had been suppressed for countless years and their combat power had been greatly reduced, they were still great Emperor Realm beings. Their strength was still significant. After all, the Celestial Emperor's corporeal body was just a corporeal body. Many people joined forces, and all kinds of attacks landed on the Celestial Emperor's corporeal body, forcing it to retreat. However, even though the Celestial Emperor's body had retreated, there was not a single wound on its stone body. Buzz! The stone sword trembled, and the stone man burst with a brilliant light. At this moment, the Celestial Emperor's physical body seemed to have recovered. The stone sword streaked across the sky, and sword light burst forth. The expressions of several powerful existences changed drastically as they were sent flying by the sword. At this moment, the space in that area cracked open again, and more experts stepped out to join in the attack on the Celestial Emperor's corporeal body. Kill our way out. Wash the primordial realm with blood. Behind the vortex, there were constant roars. The killing intent was like a tide, making people's faces change. The massive three-eyed god was doing everything it could to keep the vortex up, trying to make it bigger. There were a total of 10 great emperors attacking the Celestial Emperor's corporeal body. Everyone's faces turned ugly at the sight. 10 great emperors, what a shocking number. The number of great emperors in the Yuan Mountain sacred land didn't even add up to 10. Many of them had a serious look on their faces. If the Heavenly Emperor couldn't stop the alien races, the consequences would be unimaginable. The celestial Thearch's physical body glowed brighter and brighter. At this moment, his stone-like body seemed to be transforming into a body of flesh and blood. His combat strength was also becoming more and more terrifying. The stone sword flew across the sky and blocked the attacks of the 10 great emperors. Selah. At this time, the space kept cracking open. Emperor Formless, Emperor Heng, Emperor He, and the great emperors of the Daluo Heaven sect all appeared. They all had serious expressions on their faces as they joined the battle to help the celestial emperor's corporeal body resist the great emperors. Kill! With a helper, the pressure on the celestial Thearch's corporeal body was greatly reduced. He shouted, and the stone sword broke through several attacks in a row. He rushed to the front of the giant lizard and slashed out with the stone sword. At this moment, the stone sword seemed to have turned into an indestructible divine object. It was extremely sharp and cut off one of the giant lizard's tails. The giant lizard roared and retreated frantically. At the same time, the attacks of the other powerhouses landed on the celestial emperor's corporeal body. However, the celestial emperor's corporeal body could not be bothered at all. It was as if there was only the giant lizard in his eyes. The attacks landed on the celestial emperor's body, causing it to shake for a moment before it continued to attack the giant lizard. The sword light pierced through the void and entered the giant lizard's glabella, sinking into the hilt. Hungyu roar. The giant lizard let out a roar of despair, but in the next moment, the celestial Thearch's physical combat sword sliced the giant lizard's body in half. Endless blood and flesh were sucked into the two worlds and disappeared. A great emperor had been killed by the celestial emperor's corporeal body just like that. Of course, this was also related to the fact that the giant lizard had been suppressed for many years and had yet to recover its strength. However, it was still shocking enough. Kill! The celestial Thearch's corporeal body went berserk as he attacked the others. After a few moves, he killed another powerful existence. The celestial emperor's corporeal body had killed 2 powerful enemies in a row. This was shocking. Every single one of them was a great emperor. They were at the peak of their power and were terrifying to the extreme, but now, they had all fallen one after another. There's not much energy left in his physical body. He only has a wisp of mark left, so it's difficult for him to mobilize the heavenly Tao energy. If we attack him together, he won't be able to hold on for long. The Devil Spirit Religion Master roared. Their attacks continued to bombard Celestial Emperor's corporeal body. The battle between Emperor Formless and the others was also very intense. All kinds of power flashed, and the Great Tao was added to his body. It was extremely shocking. Fortunately, the space near the world of the lotus flower was special. Although Lu Ming and the rest looked like they were not far from the world of the lotus flower, they were actually very far away. Otherwise, they would definitely have been implicated by the aftermath of the Great Emperor's battle. Even so, it was still shocking to see. Boom, boom, boom. The shock waves from the clash between great emperors were too great. The 9 lotus petals, which were 9 worlds, shook violently as if they were about to explode under the terrifying energy. A jet-black destructive light burst forth and swept through one of the worlds. The space of that world was torn apart. Even though Lu Ming and the rest were far away, they could see that countless people in that world were destroyed by the destructive power and turned into ashes. 10,000 Sea Realm. Lu Ming's gaze turned to the 10,000 Seas realm. The realm was also shaking violently. If it was pierced through, the people inside would be in danger. Lu Ming revealed a worried look. The celestial Thearch's corporeal body exploded, and the light became even more resplendent. He launched a storm-like attack and seriously injured another powerful existence. However, the aura of the celestial Thearch's corporeal body began to weaken. In the end, it's too difficult to turn back. Celestial Emperor's corporeal body shook his head. Then he threw out the stone sword, which turned into thousands of sword lights and attacked those existences. His corporeal body instantly split into 8 and became even larger. Each figure carried a petal and flew toward the endless void. Only the ninth world had no one, so he didn't care. Finally, the celestial Thearch's corporeal body carried the 8 worlds and charged into the boundless void. Heavenly Flood Dragon, take care. Lu Ming muttered and heaved a long sigh of relief. Even though worlds like the 10,000 Sea realm might never cross paths with the primordial realm after entering the vast void, they could at least survive. Kill! At this moment, the vortex was slowly expanding. Then, a dense number of figures rushed out from it. These figures were all very burly. Each of them was covered in pitch-black scales and had a third eye in the middle of their brows. Three-eyed god race, they're all three-eyed god race. Lu Ming's pupils constricted. These figures were almost identical to the three-eyed god that Lu Ming had seen before. Some of the three-eyed god race were riding on mutant beasts, while others were flying through the air. All of them had powerful auras, but the moment they charged out, they were crushed into pieces by the auras of the great emperors. Kill them and let the army in. The demon spirit religion master shouted, and the remaining 8 emperor-level experts madly attacked Emperor Wuxia and the others. Let's get out of here. Some people were scared witless as they flew towards the sky above the cave. At this moment, 2 shadows flashed. 2 figures appeared near Lu Ming and the others, each of them exuding a shocking fluctuation. It was the aura of a great emperor. A great emperor expert had arrived. This isn't a place for you to stay. Hurry up and leave. Return to the Yuan Mountains Sacred Academy and then leave Heavenly Emperor City. One of the elders, whose body was covered in terrifying flames, said. Then he waved his hand. Lu Ming and the rest felt a powerful force surging towards them. In the next moment, they flew out of the underground cave and appeared outside the cave. Chapter 1984, Chapter 1984, Heavenly Emperor City, Chaos. Chapter 1984, Heavenly Emperor City, Kiss. Then, could it be the other 2 great emperors from the Yuan Mountains Sacred Academy? Ouyang Wushuang guessed. It's possible. Lu Ming and the rest nodded. What should we do now? Huang Ling asked. This matter is beyond our ability. Let's listen to the great emperor and return to the Yuan Mountains Sacred Academy first. We will take Xiang and the rest and leave the Heavenly Emperor City. I feel that the Heavenly Emperor City will not be peaceful in the future, Lu Ming said. Everyone nodded in agreement. Boom, boom. At this moment, below the cave, the rumbles were even more terrifying. The shocking fluctuations even caused the Heavenly Emperor City to shake. Beams of light shot out from the cave. The battle below became even more intense. Let's go! They didn't stay any longer. They rose into the air and rushed towards the Yuan Mountains Sacred Academy. The others did the same. They turned into streaks of light and left. As they were flying towards the Yuan Mountains Sacred Academy, the shaking behind them became more and more intense. A terrifying light rushed out from the cave. Kill! Behind them, they heard the sound of fighting. From a distance, they saw what seemed to be a burly figure riding a strange beast and rushing out of the cave. A 3-eyed god rushed out and stepped into the primordial realm. They didn't dare to stop and flew at full speed. The Heavenly Emperor Mountain was quite a distance away from the Yuan Mountains Sacred Institute. They arrived at the Yuan Mountains Sacred Institute after 10 minutes. Currently, no one knew how the battle at the original Heavenly Emperor Mountain had developed. Lu Ming and the rest returned to their residence after returning to the Yuan Mountains Sacred Institute. At this moment, there were already many people gathered at the residence. Lu Xiangxiang, Xuening Xin, and the others were all there. This time, only the strongest cultivators entered the Lotus World. Those below the Absolute Saint Realm didn't enter. They all stayed in the Yuan Mountain Saint Academy, such as Lu Xiangxiang. Master, what happened? Lu Xiangxiang asked. Everyone here could feel what was happening at the Heavenly Emperor Mountain. It was because that kind of vibration was too strong. There is an invasion from a foreign race. Now is not the time to talk. Gather everyone and leave Heavenly Emperor City first. Quick, Lu Ming instructed. Some of them should still be in seclusion in some cultivation places. They immediately went their separate ways to gather the other members of the Dragon Alliance. Some people were in their cultivation places and couldn't be contacted, so they had to ask the teachers of the Sacred Institute to help them pass the message. Half an hour later, most of the people from the Dragon League had arrived. With the invasion of the foreign tribes, there will probably be a great war in Heaven Emperor City. We have to leave Heaven Emperor City. Anyone who wants to go to Ancient Moon Sanctuary with me can go together. If you are not willing, you can leave together and return to your respective forces. Lu Ming said. I'd better return to the sect. Me too, let's return to the family first. Many people said. Lu Ming nodded his head. These geniuses all had their own forces. In the Yuan Mountain Sacred Academy, they were members of the Dragon Alliance. However, after leaving the Yuan Mountain Sacred Academy, they naturally had to return to their respective sections. Naturally, Lu Ming would not force them. In the Yuan Mountain Sacred Institute, they belonged to the Dragon Alliance. They might be of use in the future. Then let's go, Lu Ming said. Immediately, they flew out of the Yuan Mountain Sacred Academy. Kill them all. As soon as they arrived outside the Yuan Mountain Sacred Institute, they heard a tide-like battle cry. A group of three-eyed gods were riding mutant beasts and fighting against a group of humans. The battle was extremely brutal. Then they looked into the distance and found that all the places in the Heavenly Emperor City were in the middle of a war. Boom, boom, boom. In the depths of the Heavenly Emperor City, in the direction of the Heavenly Emperor Mountain, the void space trembled. Another group of three-eyed gods rode on strange beasts and charged over. The strange beasts stepped in the air, and the sky shook violently. The three-eyed god race had already charged out. The leader of the three-eyed god race was riding on a huge, ferocious beast. He was wearing heavy armor and holding a battle axe. His 3 eyes were as sharp as swords as he swept his gaze over Lu Ming and the others. Charge! Kill them! Boom! 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 This group of three-eyed gods was riding on their beasts and charging toward them. The strongest one is an emperor-to-be. Let's charge! Lu Ming shouted and took the lead in charging forward. Die! Die! The three-eyed god in the lead swung his battle axe down at Lu Ming. At the same time, a destructive light burst forth from his third eye. Prison suppression. Lu Ming waved his hand and the 9 shadows of the prison-suppressing steels appeared, pressing forward. The prison-guarding steel, it's the prison-guarding steel. The leader of the three-eyed god race roared in fear. Boom. And NBSP, the prison-suppressing steel's attack and defense were both completely vanquished, and the other three-eyed god race members were also killed. At the same time, Huang Ling, Long Chen and the others also attacked and killed a group of three-eyed gods. They broke out of the encirclement and rushed out of the Heavenly Emperor City. Someone has the power of the prison-guarding steel. We can't let him go. We must kill him. Roars could be heard from the distance as groups of three-eyed god race experts charged toward them on their beasts. Lu Ming and the group increased their speed and rushed outside. It has the power of the prison-suppressing steel. Kill. A loud roar came from the sky. A huge battle axe was swung down at Lu Ming. The vast emperor's throne was terrifying. A marshal supreme. An emperor-level expert had made a move on Lu Ming, wanting to kill him. However, at this moment, a huge metal rod swept out and collided with the battle axe. A terrifying boom erupted. The terrifying sound waves shook Lu Ming and the others, causing their eardrums to hurt. A burly figure with an iron rod in his hand appeared above Lu Ming and the rest. It's teacher! Lu Ming and the rest were overjoyed. This was a teacher of the Yuan Mountain Sacred Academy. Well, stop there, Marshal Supreme. The voice of a teacher from the Yuan Mountain Sacred Academy rang out. After that, a few more figures appeared, exuding a vast aura. They were all teachers of the Yuan Mountain Sacred Academy, and they were all Martial Supreme Realm experts. Let's go! Lu Ming sent a voice transmission to everyone and they continued to rush out. Stay! Kill him! A few more powerful three-eyed gods roared and charged toward Lu Ming and the others. They were all Martial Supreme powerhouses. You're a great emperor, Yet you're going against a few juniors. You evil race beings are really shameless. We are your opponents. The teachers of the Yuan Mountain Sacred Academy also made their moves, blocking the other party's emperor-level experts. As for Lu Ming and the rest, they were constantly charging outwards. And NBSP, several groups of three-eyed god race cavalry charged at them, but they were all defeated. The Heavenly Emperor City had already been completely engulfed in the flames of war. Countless three-eyed gods had rushed out from the vortex, and the sounds of killing could be heard everywhere. When Lu Ming and the group passed by the Hung family's territory, they discovered that the Hung family was also in a war. In the sky above the Hung family, there were even true emperors fighting. The scene was shocking. At this moment, Lu Ming had already kept his third bloodline. Also, he had learned his lesson and did not dare to use the power of the prison-suppressing steel so easily in case he was targeted. Chapter 1985, Chapter 1985, Chapter 1985, Returning to the Dayan Elixir Palace. Chapter 1985, Chapter 1985, Returning to the Dayan Elixir Palace. Chaos. Complete chaos. The Heavenly Emperor City was in chaos. Without any emperor-ranked powerhouses, their speed was extremely fast. Not long after, they finally arrived at the edge of Heavenly Emperor City. They rushed out of RHE city walls and rushed towards a satellite city in the distance. Not long after, they successfully arrived at a satellite city. Boom, boom. Even though they were far away, they could still hear the violent rumbles coming from the Heavenly Emperor City. From the Heavenly Emperor City, there were figures rushing out in all directions. Lu Ming and the rest did not stop and went to the teleportation array. However, most of them did not follow Lu Ming and the rest. Instead, they returned to their respective sections. Lu Ming, one need to return to the Xinyuan Empire first. The invasion of the foreign tribes is no small matter. The Xinyuan Empire must make early preparations. 11 he said. Ouyang Wushuang told Lu Ming. All right, let us go our separate ways. We'll meet again if we have the chance, but you must stay alive. Lu Ming's eyes were bright as he looked at the crowd. Definitely. 1. Everyone must stay alive. Take care, Alliance Master. Everyone bade farewell to Lu Ming and stepped into the teleportation array. In the end, only the people from the ancient Moon Holy Land, Luo Xiang, Huang Li, and the others were left. Let's go! They also stepped into the teleportation array and teleported to the teleportation area outside Ancient Moon Holy Land, then flew towards Ancient Moon Holy Land. After flying to Ancient Moon Sanctuary, Feng Ling, Long Chen, Luo Tianyi, Yi Dongfang and the others all left and returned to their respective sections. Right now, the various factions of the Ancient Moon Holy Land had probably not received the news. They had to return as soon as possible to report and make early preparations. Finally, Lu Ming brought Xiangxiang Bella, Xuening Xin, the 9 elites of the Desolate Race, and Luo Xiang back to the Great Yen Elixir Hall. After returning to the Great Yen Elixir Palace and settling everyone down, Lu Ming looked for Uncle Kong and told him about the three-eyed god race's invasion in the Heavenly Emperor City. The evil god tribe has invaded earlier than expected. Uncle Kong sighed with a serious expression. The evil god clan? Uncle Kong, what are these three-eyed monsters? Lu Ming asked. Uncle Kong's cultivation level was unfathomable and he had lived for an unknown amount of time. He might know many secrets. They come from another world and call themselves the three-eyed god race. However, that's just an exaggeration. We call them the evil god race. In the distant past, they attacked the Heaven Realm. For such a long time, most of the territories of the Heaven Realm were occupied. Now, they have always wanted to open the space barrier and invade the primordial realm. Uncle Kong said with a serious expression. He didn't seem to want to say more. Lu Ming, your mission now is to cultivate in peace and raise your cultivation. You can't interfere in such a big battle. Lu Ming nodded. Even the Heaven Realm and the Hunyuan sect could not stop them. What could he use to stop them? That's right, Uncle Kong. Can you help me save a person? Lu Ming said. He then released Qiuyu from the mountain and river diagram. Until now, Qiuyu was still unconscious. Uncle Kong's cultivation was profound, and he was also the guardian of the Dayan elixir palace. He was proficient in alchemy, so there might be a way to save her. Uncle Kong stepped forward and waved his hand. A wave of energy enveloped Qiuyu. After a while, Uncle Kong retracted the energy and frowned. Lu Ming's heart sank and he quickly asked, "Uncle Kong, how are Qiuyu's injuries? What an overbearing technique. She must have been hit by the law of deprivation." Uncle Kong said, "That's right. The person who attacked has mastered the law of deprivation." Lu Ming said, "No wonder. The injuries on her body have basically healed, but her soul has been seriously injured." Uncle Kong muttered, "His soul is injured." Lu Ming was shocked. Injuries to the soul were the most difficult to heal. That's right. This girl's soul has been attacked by Rhe law of deprivation. She's severely injured, which is why she hasn't woken up yet. If she wants to wake up, she must condense her soul. Otherwise, she'll never wake up. Uncle Kong said, "What?" Lu Ming's heart trembled. Fai could not help but clench his fists. It was possible that she would never wake up again. At this moment, Lu Ming's killing intent towards Luo Zhangqiong was extremely strong. Lu Ming took a deep breath and calmed himself down. "Uncle Kong, is there any way to help Qiuyu's soul condense?" Uncle Kong frowned as he pondered. After a long rhyme, he said, "Now, the only way is to put this girl into the Dayan elixir furnace and use the elixir fire to nurture her physical body. After a certain period of time, one will also need to add sacred medicine. This way, not only will it maintain the vitality of her physical body, but it will also prevent the remnants of her soul from dissipating. It can even slowly condense her soul. But this method can only treat Rhe symptoms but not the root of the problem. If we want to completely wake him up, we still need other methods." Uncle Kong said, "All right, 111 do IR immediately." Lu Ming took out the Dayan elixir furnace and put Qiuyu in it. He controlled the elixir fire in the furnace and enveloped Qiuyu's body. Then, Lu Ming added some sacred medicine. The medicinal effect of the sacred medicine seeped into Qiuyu's body under Rhe effect of the elixir fire. "Uncle Kong, do you know of any other methods that can completely wake Qiuyu up?" Lu Ming continued to ask. Uncle Kong shook his head and said, "I've been in seclusion for many years, so I don't know much. However, you can go to Vientiane Rower and ask around. Perhaps you can find a way. This girl is in the Great Yen Pill Furnace, so she will be fine for hundreds of years. Don't worry." Wanxiang Tower, Lu Ming's heart skipped a beat. It was a pity that the Heavenly Emperor City was in chaos now. There was no way to ask for the time being. Fortunately, Qiuyu was fine for the time being. He could only slowly find a way in the future. After chatting with Uncle Kong for a while more, Lu Ming left. Then he brought Xiang and called Ouyang Moli over to introduce him to them. "Senior sister." Ouyang Moli bowed to Lu Xiang. In fact, Lu Xiang was 2 years younger than Ouyang Moli. However, she put her hands behind her back and looked curious. She blinked her big eyes and sized Ouyang Moli up. She said in a mature tone, "Your second junior brother? Your cultivation level isn't good enough, so you have to work harder." 1. "Yes, senior sister." Ouyang Moli nodded. N. Lu Xiang still had the appearance of an old woman. She nodded slightly, her eyes full of excitement. She felt that the feeling of being Ari's eldest senior sister was not bad. Lu Ming found it funny. This girl was really putting on the demeanor of a senior sister. "Xiang, don't be too proud. Your second junior brother has only cultivated for 2 years and is about to break through to the Saint Realm. If you don't work hard, he might catch up to you." Lu Ming said with a serious look. "Less than 2 years? So fast?" Lu Xiang blinked her big eyes. This speed was even faster than her. Ouyang Moli had the reincarnation body and had even obtained the world core of the reincarnation emperor. His cultivation speed was shockingly fast, even faster than Lu Xiang. Coupled with the guidance of Uncle Kong, his foundation was extremely solid. He had already reached the peak of the half-saint realm and was about to break through to the saint realm. This kind of cultivation speed was too shocking. It made him feel ashamed as a master. However, Lu Xiangxiang and Ouyang Moli were the true children of God, unlike Lu Ming, who had cultivated himself to this level. He was naturally gifted and it was normal for him to cultivate quickly in the early stages. Towards the end, it would slowly slow down. For example, Heng Xinghe had been stuck in Rhe Great Circle of the Absolute Saint stage for a year or two and had not broken through to the Emperor-to-be realm. There are many heaven's favorites in the world, don't be too proud. Lu Ming warned seriously. Yes, master. Xiangxiang Bella and Ouyang Moli nodded. Chapter 1986. Seeing Celestial Emperor's corporeal body again. If audio player doesn't work, press stop then play button again. Chapter 1986. Seeing Celestial Emperor's corporeal body again. In the following days, everyone cultivated in the Dayan elixir hall. Lu Ming would often go to the Phoenix Palace and the Divine Elephant sect to find Long Chen and the Phoenix Spirit for information. The invasion of the foreign races shook the entire Yuan Mountain. All the powerful forces of the ancient Moon Holy Land were alarmed and started to gather the experts scattered all over the place to wait. As time passed, news of the invasion of the foreign races kept coming. The Heavenly Emperor City had been completely occupied. The overlords of the Heavenly Emperor City, the Heng clan and the He clan, had escaped from the Heavenly Emperor City with their entire clan and disappeared without a trace. Countless martial artists had died in the battle. The Heavenly Emperor City had suffered heavy losses. After the foreign tribes occupied Heavenly Emperor City, a few days later, the foreign tribes began to send their army to all directions of Heavenly Emperor City. Wherever they passed, not even a chicken or a dog would be left. One by one, the Emperor-ranked forces were attacked by the foreign races. From martial sovereigns to women and children who did not know martial arts, they were all killed. Everywhere it passed, blood flowed like a river, and hundreds of millions of corpses were buried. Everyone's expression changed. The methods of the foreign race were too ruthless. This was simply a massacre. Around the Heavenly Emperor City, all the Emperor-ranked powerhouses had withdrawn and retreated to the 8 sacred lands. Among the 9 sacred grounds of the Yuan Mountain, the Heavenly Emperor City was in the center. The other sacred grounds surrounded the Heavenly Emperor City. During this period of time, many Emperor-ranked forces had entered ancient Moon Holy Land. As for the outsiders, they had sent out their armies to attack in all directions. They were already approaching the other sacred lands. 2 months after the battle at Heaven Emperor City, outside the ancient Moon Holy Land, the first foreign tribe army appeared. When they attacked the ancient Moon Holy Land, they were defeated by the strong practitioners of the ancient Moon Holy Land. Facing this unprecedented pressure, all the powerful forces of the ancient Moon Holy Land temporarily put aside their grudges and formed an alliance. The Wind race had gathered all the forces together and built a huge base. All the forces and experts had gathered to resist the alien race. The number of clashes between Guyu Holy Land and the other races increased. It's chaos. Lu Ming stood at the peak of the Dayan Elixir Palace and looked into the distance as he muttered. At that moment, a ray of light flashed in the distance. The speed was so fast that Lu Ming had only just reacted when the light appeared in front of him. When Lu Ming saw the true appearance of the ray of light, he could not help but be shocked. A 1-meter-tall stone man and a stone sword. Isn't this the Celestial Emperor's sword? Also, that was the Celestial Emperor's corporeal body. Although it was countless times smaller than when he first saw it, Lu Ming could still recognize it at a glance. It was the Celestial Thearch's physical body. In the last battle, the Celestial Emperor's corporeal body wielded the stone sword and killed 2 great emperor powerhouses in a row with unparalleled divine power. After that, Lu Ming and the rest returned to ancient Moon Sanctuary. There was no more Celestial Emperor's body or news of the great emperors. At this moment, the Celestial Thearch's physical body and the Celestial Thearch's sword had arrived. From the looks of it, they were coming for Lu Ming. Buzz. Buzz. The Celestial Thearch's physical body and the Celestial Thearch's sword moved and flew directly into Lu Ming's glabella. suspended in his sea of consciousness. This, Lu Ming was somewhat dumbfounded. At that moment, a white light flashed in front of Lu Ming and a figure floated out. It was the Celestial Thearch. Senior Celestial Thearch, Lu Ming from the junior generation. Lu Ming was shocked and quickly bowed. No need to be so polite, just a wisp of mark. The Celestial Thearch's figure smiled. Senior Heavenly Emperor, why are you here? Lu Ming asked the question in his heart. Back then, wasn't the Celestial Thearch's corporeal body controlled by the Star River? Why was it flying into his consciousness with the Celestial Emperor's sword? Heng Xinghe is too selfish. He only cares about himself and not others, so he has no right to control Celestial Emperor's corporeal body. You, on the other hand, have a good character, are decisive, and are extremely talented. Most importantly, you have something you want to protect. Moreover, you were able to pull out the combat sword that one left behind years ago. This is enough to prove that you are qualified to control the item that one left behind. The Heavenly Emperor's figure nodded. Lu Ming could not help but touch his nose. He was not as good as what the Celestial Thearch had said. He was just not that selfish. Senior Heavenly Emperor, is the Heng family really your descendants? Lu Ming asked. The Celestial Thearch pondered for a moment, as if reminiscing about the past. I'm not a human. One attained Tao as a stone golem. When I first attained Tao, one gave birth to a descendant with a human woman. That descendant was the Heng family. Speaking of which, the Heng family is indeed my descendant. However, countless years have passed, and these juniors seem to be becoming more and more useless. If you have a grudge against the Heng family, you don't have to worry about me. Senior Heavenly Emperor, it's actually Rockmen achieving Tao. Lu Ming's heart skipped a beat. No wonder the Celestial Thearch's physical body was a stone golem, and his sword was also made of stone. Senior, you have such a strong cultivation, how did you? Lu Ming was very curious. He wanted to know what the Celestial Thearch had experienced back then. With the Eternal Universe Heavenly Emperor's cultivation base, how had he fallen? You want to ask me why one died, right? Speaking of which, one didn't die. The Celestial Thearch's figure smiled. He didn't die? Lu Ming was overjoyed, but he was immediately filled with doubts. The Celestial Thearch had not fallen. How could he have left behind a physical body and a trace of his mark? I have to start from the evil god tribe. The figure of the Heavenly Emperor said. Immediately, the figure of the Heavenly Emperor began to tell Lu Ming in detail. In ancient times, the foreign races invaded the Heaven Realm and fought with the powerful beings of the Heaven Realm. At that time, heaven and earth had been pierced through, connecting to the primordial realm. There were many Heaven Realm ruins that fell into the primordial realm, and some strong practitioners from the Heaven Realm entered the primordial realm. Of course, there were also some strong practitioners from other races who had entered the primordial realm. However, only a small number of foreign powerhouses entered the primordial realm. Later on, these alien experts hid in the primordial realm. There were even strange and terrifying races that possessed human bodies and established their own forces. Forces like the demon spirit religion and evil spirit religion specialized in hunting down human elites and powerhouses. Lu Ming finally knew the origin of the evil spirit cult. It was created by an alien race. No wonder many of the evil spirit cultivators were afraid of his prison suppressing steel, just like the three-eyed god. A long time ago, the alien races found a weak point in space and wanted to open a passage to let the evil god race in. However, they were discovered by the Hengyu Heavenly Emperor. In order to stop these alien races, a war broke out between the two sides. However, there was a terrifying expert among the foreign races who was good at attacking the soul. He was also a Heavenly Emperor, and he even tore the soul of the Eternal Universe Heavenly Emperor apart. Although the Eternal Universe Heavenly Emperor had managed to kill his opponent in the end, his soul was on the verge of collapse. In the end, the Eternal Universe Heavenly Emperor used his remaining power to seal the 8 emperors into a small world. He used the power of the small world and his own physical strength to suppress the passage. Lu Ming finally understood the origin of the Lotus world. However, although my soul was scattered back then and only a wisp of my soul remained, when I was about to die, one had a great enlightenment and broke through to another level. Instead, one formed a new physical body and came back to life. So, I can be considered someone who has died once. Finally, the Heavenly Emperor's figure said. Chapter 1987. The Secret of the Heaven Realm. If audio player doesn't work, press stop then play button again. Chapter 1987. The Secret of the Heaven Realm. He's reformed his body and revived. Lu Ming was extremely shocked. One could imagine the unparalleled charm of the Hengyu Heavenly Emperor back then. He blocked many foreign overlords by himself and killed the Heavenly Emperor. He also used the power of his small world to suppress the space passage and stop the invaders. The last remaining soul was resurrected and rose to a higher level. If this was written into a book, it would be a legend. However, Lu Ming had his doubts. Since the Celestial Thearch was not dead, where was he now? Why did he only leave behind a trace of his mark and not appear in the previous battle? The figure of the Celestial Thearch seemed to have noticed Lu Ming's confusion and explained, "The primordial realm hasn't reached the time for a real war yet. The war in the heaven realm has already reached a critical juncture. There are 9 heaven domains in the heaven realm, but the other 8 heaven domains don't have a passage to the primordial realm. Only the last heaven domain, the Tai Ching heaven domain, has a passage to the primordial realm. Now, the remaining strong cultivators of the heaven realm are guarding the Tai Ching heaven region. The evil god tribe has always wanted to occupy the Tai Ching heaven region and then invade the primordial realm using the passageway there. I'm now fighting in the heaven realm." Lu Ming was somewhat dumbfounded. He had learned many secrets today. "My body is made of stone. It's like a puppet now. I'll give it to you. I hope it can help you." The Heavenly Emperor's figure continued. "Many thanks, Senior." Lu Ming was overjoyed. The Celestial Thearch's corporeal body had endless power. He had seen it before. It could even kill great sovereigns. If he could control it, he would immediately become an unparalleled expert. He could destroy the Golden Crow race and the Wan family. Don't get too excited just yet. If you want to control this stone body, you'll need energy. I've used up all of that energy in the battle with the outsiders, and now the mark is about to disappear. Therefore, in order to control this stone body, I have to let the stone body absorb energy continuously. The more energy it absorbs, the more powerful it will be. This stone body is like a puppet. Without a trace of energy, it can't be controlled and can't exert much power. The Celestial Thearch's words were like a bucket of cold water poured on Lu Ming's head. It seemed that he had been happy for nothing. However, Lu Ming was immediately excited. This was the Celestial Thearch's body. If it absorbed enough energy, it would be able to unleash terrifying power. 111 now teach you how to control this stone body and how to absorb energy. The Celestial Thearch walked past and pointed a finger between Lu Ming's eyebrows. Some information immediately appeared in Lu Ming's mind. Alright, this mark of mine has completed its mission. It's time to dissipate. Little guy, one look forward to the day you grow up. The Celestial Emperor's corporeal body smiled. Senior, Lu Ming felt a little sad. No need to feel sad for me. I'm not dead. Everything that happened here can be sensed by my main body in the heavenly realm. One hope we can meet in the heavenly realm and fight side by side. The Celestial Emperor's mark smiled and then disappeared like a wisp of green smoke. Senior, I believe that it won't be long before we meet again. There was a look of determination in Lu Ming's eyes. He then sat cross-legged and carefully studied the method of controlling the stone body and the method of absorbing energy that the Celestial Thearch had taught him. 2 hours later, Lu Ming had fully comprehended it. He circulated his cultivation technique and sensed carefully. He discovered that whether it was Celestial Emperor's corporeal body or Celestial Emperor's sword, they were like the bottom of a dried lake. There was no energy at all and he could not control them. Let's try to absorb the rough stone. Lu Ming waved his hand and took out 100,000 superior-grade raw stones. He activated them according to the method taught by the Celestial Thearch. Buzz. The Celestial Emperor's sword flew to the back of the Celestial Emperor's corporeal body, and the two fused together as if they were one. Bang, bang, bang. 100,000 raw gemstones exploded instantly, turning into rolling energy that was absorbed by Celestial Emperor's corporeal body and Celestial Emperor's sword. A moment later, the energy of the 100,000 raw gemstones was completely absorbed. Lu Ming quickly sensed it and his face immediately turned bitter. He realized that not even 1% of the energy in the 100,000 raw gemstones had been filled. Not even 1,000th of its energy was fully replenished. How much energy would he need to replenish it? Lu Ming was speechless. In the end, he gritted his teeth and took out 1,000,000 high-grade raw gemstones. He let his heaven, earth, and physical body absorb them. What made Lu Ming cry in grief was that the energy of 1,000,000 high-grade raw gemstones was still not even 1% of the energy. Sigh, I'd better absorb the energy slowly. I can't eat hot tofu if I'm impatient. Lu Ming sighed. He kept the Celestial Thearch's body into the mountain and river diagram, allowing it to absorb the energy between heaven and earth on its own. Right now, Lu Ming felt that he was especially in need of resources. You needed to refine Saint Herbs frequently, while Celestial Emperor's body needed a huge amount of energy. Fortunately, the Celestial Thearch's corporeal body could absorb any kind of energy, not just from raw gemstones. Lu Ming closed his eyes and cultivated quietly. Lu Ming felt a sense of urgency after hearing the Celestial Thearch's words. The heaven realms seemed to be completely outmatched and could only defend the last heaven domain, Taiching Heaven, to stop the alien races. If the alien races broke into the Taiching Heavenly region, they could use the Void Passage and a large army to rush into the primordial realm. The passageway in the Heavenly Emperor City was only a small one. In the blink of an eye, more than 10 days had passed. These days, more and more alien races came to attack ancient Moon Holy Land. The pressure on Guyu Holy Land's forces was getting bigger and bigger. Finally, in order to boost morale, many sects joined forces, gathered resources, and created a merit point. As long as they killed the alien races, they would be able to get merit points. Killing a Martial Royal Realm alien would earn him 1 merit point, a lower-tier Bright Saint alien would earn him 5 merit points, and a higher-tier Bright Saint alien would earn him 10 merit points. And so on, as one's cultivation level increased, the merit points would double. These merit points could be used to exchange for various treasures, such as Saint Herbs, Saint Weapons, Monarch Weapons, Ori Rocks, and so on. This way, the killing intent of the ancient Moon Holy Land rose. All the powerful forces, as well as the Emperor-level forces from the outside world, all went out to hunt the alien races. Lu Ming decided to bring everyone out to hunt the alien races. Firstly, they could train themselves in a life-and-death battle, stimulate their potential, and improve their cultivation. Secondly, it could be exchanged for resources, killing 2 birds with 1 stone. Palace Master, you guys can go. Take this Jade Talisman. If you encounter a martial emperor, you can crush it and the Jade Talisman will bring you back to the Dayan Elixir Palace. Uncle Kong handed Lu Ming a Jade Talisman. Lu Ming accepted it happily. In this way, he would have fewer concerns. If he encountered the other party's emperor-level experts, he could escape. Following that, Lu Ming brought along Huang Li and the other 9 elites of the Desolate race, as well as Luo Xiang and Lu Xiangxiang. As Ouyang Moli's cultivation level was still low, he was not invited. They flew towards the west of the ancient Moon Sanctuary and met up with Feng Ling, Long Chen, Luo Tianyi, and the others at the foot of a mountain. Lu Ming, this is the base that the ancient Moon Holy Land's many forces built together. Huang Ling smiled and led Lu Ming and the rest towards the mountain. You're tuning in to the Han Li's Immortal Journey YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.